Welcome back. It is time. It is that time. Once again, it's time. Michael, this is kind of an interesting thing. You haven't been on the podcast for 2 weeks.
I've not.
It's been quite a while. So
yeah, it's been a while. I did do like 2 or 3 in a row before that point.
That's true. That's true. So welcome back. Welcome back. Yeah, it's the RageSelect podcast. I'm Jeff.
And I'm Mike.
You actually missed the entire end of the Microsoft saga, right? Like
I did.
That whole thing just happened.
It just sort of, I feel like it ended kind of with a whimper, though.
Yeah.
And I was like, you know what? I'm fine with that.
They put out a trailer. They put out a trailer for their merger, which was a little weird.
I saw that and it made me laugh because I was like, this is some fucking nonsense. They're like, we did it. We beat the FTC. It's like what?
Hooray? Question mark? Yeah, so now we got to find a new villain. We've spent 2 years talking about a new topic because for 2 years it's been nothing, almost every week, but Microsoft, Activision, Blizzard news. And
well, Bobby Kotick has time to fuck up.
That's true.
He's got to wait till the end of the year.
That's true, or maybe longer. But that doesn't mean that we don't have news to talk about this week, even though I think we might have a more reasonable amount. Who knows?
We'll see.
Whenever that happens, then I'm always like, we could go on diverse tangents and talk about whatever we want to. And oh shit, we're fucking out of time. Oh god.
The problem is we're always like, you know, this isn't a lot, and then it becomes a lot.
Yep.
Or this is a lot, and then we still go on our tangents anyways.
Yep. True.
So that's one of the reasons why our podcast specifically go on for a long time.
That is very true. Well, I tell you what, there's a lot of stuff. There's there's 2 new horror movies that are coming out the day after we record this.
Oh yeah.
So I'm gonna watch those for next week. But this week, I looked around and I looked because I was like, I gotta watch something. I gotta watch something to talk about on the podcast. I looked. And I ended up watching The Retirement Plan.
The what?
The Retirement Plan, which is the Nicolas Cage movie where it's like he's like a beach bum and like his daughter gets in trouble with the mob and then he turns out to have been like a government assassin, and so the mob guys show up and he's like an old man. But
when did this come out?
Like 4 months ago. It came out like this week on VOD.
How did
Do
I
you not know what I'm talking about?
Apparently not.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, that's good.
I thought I did.
I watched it because it was on VOD, or I think it might have come out on VOD like a week or 2 ago, maybe. And I was like, I've enjoyed a lot of the Nicolas Cage stuff I've seen recently.
Yeah.
I wonder how this one goes. And you're literally talking to a guy who watched and liked Willy's Wonderland. Like
I liked Willy's Wonderland too, though.
I was like, it wasn't that bad.
It's a fun, stupid movie.
Yeah. Michael. This movie is so bad. It's so bad. But the thing is that it doesn't just have Nicolas Cage in it. It also has Ron Perlman,
oh my God,
Jackie Earle Haley, and Ernie Hudson in it. And I swear to God, like, it's also got a bunch of other people. I don't like, those are just the names, but like, it's got a bunch of other people who are actors that have been in other things.
Yeah.
It was so bad. I felt like I was watching a best of the worst episode. Like it was obviously all shot on like video, and like there was no the dialogue was bad, and like the action scenes were fucking terrible, and the plot was so stupid. It was so stupid, and then it just ended, and I was like, this is weird. Now, the trailer, I gotta admit, I watched the trailer, and the trailer actually makes the movie look better than it makes it look kind of like schlocky, but like, it's really, really bad. There's a lot of like CG blood stuff. I tell you what, I'm gonna save all you motherfuckers from having to watch this. There's a point at the end of the movie where like right before the movie ends, like in the last 10 minutes of the movie, there's a point where Nicolas Cage shoots a guy, and then a guy comes up behind him and puts a gun to his head and is like, haha, I got you now. And then they like go over to some other guys, and the guy with the gun to Nicolas Cage shoots another important character, and then another important character shoots him, and then shoots somebody else, and then it's like, and the movie's over. It's just like really fast, and there's no build up or stakes. It's just playing, and the double cross, and now the triple cross. It reminds me of the Lonely Island parody of the OC.
Oh yeah, I can see that. It was brought up a best of the worst right after that trailer.
It was really bad. It was really terrible.
That's a shame, but
yeah.
it's not. unheard of with Nicolas Cage, because we're in a period where everyone loves everything he's put out, and we forget that he still makes bad movies.
Yes,
but we don't always know about them.
Oh, I mean, like, I think Willy's Wonderland is bad, but it's fun bad.
It's fun bad, like, yeah. But that's what I mean. Like, everybody forgets. Like, we're at the point. I feel like we're past the point where every movie was that. Yeah, because he had to pay his taxes for a long time.
Right.
And so we don't get a lot of those the way we used to. We've gotten more stuff that like looks more professional, I guess, if that's the best way of putting it. Like Renfield, the Pig.
I didn't love Renfield the movie, but I did like Nicolas Cage's Dracula.
Yeah,
like he was having a good time playing Dracula in that movie.
Well, it felt like more like an actual it felt more like a one that wasn't designed to be direct to DVD, if that makes more sense.
Right,
because he had a lot of those for a while. And then he kind of stopped around 2018 or so.
Have you seen the trailer for Dream Scenario?
See, that's the one that I know about.
That one looks good.
That one looks really good.
I don't think it's Nicolas Cage's fault if a movie starring Nicolas Cage is bad.
No, it's never his fault.
It's the writer and the director's fault.
The man is such a professional, and he's such a fan of movies that like he can never really be bad in a movie.
Yeah,
it's only the movie itself that can be bad around him.
Yes. So yeah, I watched that. And then I also watched. So I was looking at his other movies, trying to be like, man, it took me like 2 days to watch that movie because I kept turning it off.
So you just kept. You could have just not finished it.
Well, then what I talk about on the podcast.
That's fair, I guess. We could have just talked about half of it. Never mind.
So I did look up. I've never watched this Prisoners of Ghostland movie that he was in.
I forgot about that.
This really weird, like horror western, and it's made by this Sion Sono guy. This guy made the movies that he's made a lot of movies. He's a real weird, real weird Japanese director. The two movies that I've seen of his that I can remember very specifically are Suicide Club.
Oh.
And Tokyo Gore Police. Did you know those two movies were made by the same person?
I did not know they were made by the same guy. Suicide Club was one of the first weird Japanese movies I ever saw.
Yeah. He's made a lot of movies. Like he makes a lot of movies. But he made this movie in 2015 called Tag that's really bizarre. I had to like sign up for a membership to some website I've never fucking heard of because it was the only place where it was streaming. It's like the website that has Vinegar Syndrome movies on it, and like
that's interesting.
All this really strange. It's all just like music stuff, like Tom Petty behind the scenes, and then like Sleepaway Camp and like some weird J-horror movie, and I'm like
that's the weird thing about the internet is that not everything is so scattered now.
Yeah.
In such a weird way.
Tag is a very weird movie. I don't know if I could if I started to describe it, like, I don't know, the first 5 minutes of it is like a bunch of, let me put it this way. In the first 5 minutes of the movie, a bus full of Japanese schoolgirls get bisected.
Oh, Jesus.
Like chopped in half, like at the waist. And that is like the least nutty thing that happens moving forward. So
sure, I guess.
I don't know. What about you, Michael? Did you watch anything that it wasn't either terrible or inscrutable? Like,
that's the thing is I legitimately can't remember the last thing I watched, which is weird. Because my brain is filled with Spider-Man.
Oh, you just been Spider-Man all the men.
I played Spider-Man from Friday night to essentially like Monday night.
Uh-huh.
And then the last thing I did was I bought the Metal Gear Solid collection, the Master Collection or whatever it's called.
Sure.
And I started playing Metal Gear Solid 1. And that's kind of all I've been up to.
Okay. You beat Spider-Man, though.
I did.
What'd you give
100%ed it. I platinumed it. I would give it a 9 out of 10.
Okay.
Because I still have issues with it here and there.
Mm-hmm.
Some of it's the third act, but I made this point when I posted it, which is that the reasons I have issues with the third act plot is because I know so much about Spider-Man that that part of my brain where it's like, but that's not what happened. Like I had to keep telling it to shut up to be like, look, I get it. I get you're confused and you don't know what to do in the situation that part of my brain.
Yeah.
That's like yelling out canon over and over again.
Right.
Don't do that. You have to understand this is a completely different world.
Yeah.
And then once you accept that, you can get through it without any issues.
I would think as a Spider-Man fan, you've been trained there's a verse of spiders, right? Also, all kinds of nutty shit happens to Spider-Man all the time, right?
Well, the main reason it was so weird was because it was the first time I saw a bunch of stuff that hasn't been adapted yet be adapted for the first time.
Okay.
And a lot of it I mentioned to you was is a specific run by a writer named Donnie Cates, who apparently lives here in town. He to me, he wrote like the best Venom run ever.
Yeah.
And it started, I want to say 2019, and then ended, I want to say like a year or two ago. And it was amazing. It was all about Venom dealing with this like crazy conspiracy about like the actual purpose of the symbiote race, and then like eventually it escalates from there into like fighting a symbiote god. He gets a bunch of powers and has to fight like dragon symbiotes and shit. It's fucking crazy as fuck, and it sounds insane, but when you read it, it's really good. Because Martin had to convince me to really keep up with it. Because when I read the first two, I was like, this is the stupidest thing I've ever seen, and Martin was like, no, keep going. I swear you'll love it. And I was like, fine. And then as it went on, I was like, no, he's right. I love everything about this batshit insanity.
I feel like Spider-Man is like the example of like Spider-Man and Superman are the ones where like on a long enough timeline, anything seems reasonable.
Yeah.
Like, oh, how many Spider-Men are there? Lots. Like, oh, he's got a clone? Oh, his parents who've canonically like been dead and shall not be brought back to life. Oh, they're secret agents. They're alive. It's not a problem.
So I'm going to tell everybody who's listening to this who's hasn't played it or has played it.
Yeah.
And was very confused by everything Venom and the symbiotes were able to do.
Yeah.
To find that run, because they sell them in omnibuses. The entire Venom one is sold as one omnibus. The Absolute Carnage one is sold as one, as well as the King in Black one. Okay. Because those are like the two events that happened in the middle of his story stuff. And they're fucking huge. They're like this fucking thick. Okay. People can't see this, but it's like a really
like
thick
4
one.
inches between his fingers.
Yeah, because I have the Venom one, but I need to get the Absolute Carnage one and then the King in Black one, because I really liked it. I liked it a lot. And yeah, it was amazing. But but one of my main issues just come down to combat stuff, because the game expects you to really use the parry a lot, and I just refused. Not because I didn't, but mostly because I forgot it existed so often. Because in the middle of like a bunch of people shooting at you and you're dodging left and right, you forget that you can hit the L1 button at any moment to do your little parry or block, because it's not in the first two games. Yeah. So my brain doesn't think that it exists. And so I'm just like, I was fighting Kraven, and it's like, eventually the game's like, are you going to parry? You're going to parry, right? And I was like, I could, or I could use my powers. And then I just did all my fucking powers every time. Sure. Because there's a bunch of enemies like that. There's a guy with a shield, a guy with like these flame, or I can't remember what he was, but there's a specific guy, or it's like the robot dogs or whatever. Like they expect you to parry those attacks. Yeah.
I just kind of got used to it.
But at the end of the day, I was just like, what I can do, I have like spider arms that like punch things to death if I hit the right buttons. So I'm just gonna do that instead. True. But other than that, I thought the game was great. I
liked it. I liked that it was a little shorter. Yeah. I didn't want as many. Like, I was worried that in this day and age that it was like, I can understand anybody who would be mad that it was short, but I love the fact, I mean, and it wasn't like 4 hours. It was like 25 hours instead of 30 hours type of thing.
The main thing was that the reason it works is because every side quest doesn't feel tedious. Yeah. Because when you play some of the other ones, it was just like, find all the pigeons, Spider-Man, or just that kind of thing.
Or just do this radio tower puzzle like 10 times. And this one, it's like, do it 5 times maybe. Maybe do it 5 times. And 3 of those, we're going to throw some other stuff in too.
And the puzzles aren't very hard, except for the very last one. And even then, that's an optional one, which was the
that wasn't too hard.
It was I had an issue with it because it was just I was cooking at the same time, and I was just like trying to do the thing. And I was just like, I need to get back to my cooking, so I was like, wasn't thinking about it.
Let him cook, game. Come on.
No, it was great. I loved a lot of it. My other main issues, and it's not an issue you've had, is because I don't like the majority of the suits for Peter's side. Like, I think Miles had a lot of really cool ones, but Peter's side had all the OC suits, as I call them, and most of them are terrible. except for like a handful of them.
I just stayed with whatever the default suit was, and it wasn't the game. The entire game, like it puts up a little thing telling you that you can upgrade stuff, and it'll have like a number of like, oh, here on your gadgets, you've got enough things to upgrade one of 3 things. And like for most of the game, my suits tab had like 80 underneath it because it was just like I don't want any of them. I don't want any of them. I don't want any alternate colors. I don't want anything. I just want to play default fucking Spider-Man. That's what I want to do. But
I use the classic one for the most part.
Enough Spider-Man talk, because it could go on. It did go on for a while before he started, but it could go on even longer. But we got news to talk about, starting with we got an Xbox partner preview. This was a pretty good little showcase. It was only like 25 minutes long.
Yeah.
It wasn't huge, but this one was mostly stuff that I liked. Like I didn't. There wasn't a lot of like.
It's all stuff that's coming out pretty soon, actually.
Yeah.
Or not all of it, but at least a couple of them are.
I mean, so we started with Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth that is coming out in January. I keep forgetting that it's like The Man Who Erased His Name comes out in like 2 weeks. And then like this comes out on January 26th. So we're getting like these two pretty back to back.
It's really close, which is very surprising.
The big thing here was like did you get a chance to watch this one?
I watched a couple of them.
Okay.
So I watched this one.
Was that they just put Animal Crossing in fucking Yakuza?
Yeah.
Like there's an island that you go to where you just like build houses and decorate houses and do like fun stuff for people and set up like a resort, and you mine and you defend it, and it's just
catch
like,
butterflies, that kind of thing.
Fucking Animal Crossing, but in Yakuza.
And the thing that's amazing is I didn't bat an eyelash when they announced it.
Yep.
I was like, no, that makes sense.
Yep.
Yakuza is the series if that happened, I would not be confused at all.
I actually think let me see if I can flex my chops a little bit. In Yakuza, in the first Like a Dragon, and the one that came out, what was it, 2020, 2021 or whatever?
Yeah.
There was a house that you could refurbish, like out in the country. It wasn't as extensive as this, because this is like your house and then also the city and the shops and the resorts and all that stuff. But I think that they started messing around with this in the last game. So there definitely was something. Or maybe it was in the samurai one that came out earlier this year.
I forgot the full name of it. It's Like a Dragon something.
Yeah.
I can't remember the name of it.
Ishin? Like a Dragon
Ishin makes sense? Yeah. That makes sense. I still want to play that one. I haven't got a chance to. I know it's on Game Pass now.
It wasn't quite as good as it wasn't as compelling. I found it less compelling, like the whole idea of it a little bit less compelling the more I got into it.
It's all based on a historical thing, and it's not something we would care about kind of thing.
But yeah, this looks bananas. This is absolutely berserk.
But it's like I'm not even batting an eyelash that this specific series is what's doing it.
Yep.
Because I have no qualms with that.
It's funny, all of the weirdos like showing up on this island. I don't know. I'm really excited to get back into. Was it Ichiban? Is that the name of the main character? I think.
I think so.
His story. And
this is so unique.
It's just like I love Yakuza. I love the Yakuza franchise, or the Like a Dragon, I should say, franchise, because they iterate more often than a lot of Western games do, but they always keep the old stuff. And then just keep piling more.
It builds on top of itself.
Yeah.
Shenmue wishes it was as good as the Like a Dragon series.
Yes.
I'm not even because Shenmue, like every time somebody explains Shenmue to me, I'm like, so it's like a bad version of Yakuza, is usually what I say out loud.
Shenmue obviously
The Shenmue obviously came first.
It came first,
but they never evolved past what they started.
Yes.
Whereas Yakuza did immediately.
Yeah, what they didn't have was Kiryu Kazama.
That's true. They had a guy look at his watch and be like, "What time does that store open?" In that exact way I said it, by the way.
And that guy sucks. No, and I don't like him. So.
That guy sucks real bad.
Anyway, all right. Now that you guys got your downvotes out of the way, next up we got. This was really weird. This is an announcement for this game called Ikaro Will Not Die. And it's being made by Future Lab, which is the company that makes Power Wash Simulator.
I heard about this.
And it's like a third-person action roguelike. I'm not entirely clear what's going on. It looks relatively like generic from an action perspective, so not sure if there's something in here that I'm not totally getting, because like there's some kind of weird like tether mechanic where you see a lot of times the main character is like kind of hooked to somebody else. It looks like it's got a lot of like kind of frenetic action.
Yeah.
But it still kind of looks generic. Like it still kind of looks like a generic third-person action game. So I'm wanting to know, like, why should I play this and not something else? Because we got out of this trailer was a very like flashy, just kind of montage.
Like it looks like it's a fun enough time, but even its like hashtag is like it being like, what is it?
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, I guess I'll have to find out what it is.
You know what it reminds me of? It reminds me of like a soulless knockoff of Hi-Fi Rush.
I could kind of see that.
Doesn't look as good and doesn't have the same rhythm
like
stuff.
The tether stuff clearly has some like mechanics going on it.
Yes.
There's that part when it first shows up, where the guy clearly has like a shield looking thing in front of him.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, you're obviously supposed to like circle around him and then hit him to where he's vulnerable or something.
Right.
But like every time they show it, it's not like, you don't really seems more like a really fancy lock on.
Right.
Is the best way of putting it.
So yeah, I want to make sure that I'm clear that like I don't think this is like, I'm not saying like, oh, this game's going to be garbage. No. I just need to know if there's something else to it.
I think it'll be fine, kind of thing. Like you said, it looks like a really fun action type thing.
Yeah.
But it looks, depending on what you do and what's going on, it can only make it last so long.
Right. So yeah, I just need to see. I need to see more of it.
Also, you guys made Power Wash Simulator before this point, so it's harder to like gauge what you're capable of.
Right.
So
right.
There's that too.
Yeah.
Unless he pulls out a Power Wash in the middle of the fight, I don't know what to expect out of him.
Is Icaro Must Die? Is this like the prequel to Power Wash Simulator, where then he like goes back in time and fucks up that whole town of Greasy Grimes or whatever it's called?
I could see that. Or maybe it's what the guy did before he became a power washer.
Yeah. From there, we got a trailer for Still Wakes the Deep.
Yeah, this was announced a while back,
yes,
if I remember correctly.
This is the next game being made by the Chinese Room, who made Amnesia Machine for Pigs, Everybody's Gone to the Rapture, and What Remains of Edith Finch. They're
they're very popular games.
Yeah, very big in the kind of walking simulator.
Jeff, you're saying a pig made this Amnesia?
No.
Sorry, that's all. I had that joke stuck in my head the second you said it.
It's a machine for pigs, not a machine by pigs.
Oh, that makes more sense.
I have a really hard time understanding what exactly is even happening in here. It's like you're walking around on like an oil platform, and then there's some weird like ocean tentacly funkiness.
Like the main plot of it that we know of so far is that like you're some sort of like an oil rig worker, and then some fucked up shit attacks the oil rig, and
Sure.
you're just trying to survive. So you're just seeing him walking around doing that stuff.
This is also the same. Chinese Room is also the company that they tasked to pick up development for Vampire the Masquerade 2.
Oh, okay.
After that whole thing,
this could go either way because they're very good at what they do, but like psychological horror is really difficult sometimes.
Sure.
And there's supposed to be some of that stuff too, because the guy's like trying to survive to get back to his daughter.
Yeah.
And I know the trailer kind of made it seem. I don't think it was this trailer, but another trailer made it seem like he might be hearing things as he's progressing.
There's obviously some weird, spooky, supernatural junk going on.
Obviously, something fucking nuts is going on, and it depends on what happens from here. I guess I don't know.
From everything I've heard, What Remains of Edith Finch was very good. From everything I've heard,
yeah, everybody really liked that one. The same with Everyone's Gone to the Rapture. People were pretty somewhat mixed on that one, but they liked it for the most part.
That was okay. I actually did play that one all the way through.
Same with Amnesia Machine for Pigs.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, the thing is that we don't get as many of these like walking simulators. I guess what Bloober Team is kind of the king of it right now.
They've been doing a lot
Layers
of those,
Fear. Yeah. I guess you could kind of count the
because Amnesia somewhat was, but not really.
Dark Pictures as that. Well, the new Amnesia game is like a survival game.
Yeah, the newest. Well, that's what I said. Like, but not really now because they've changed even that their thing.
So I don't know. I mean, it looks really nice. Like if it I would like to know more about what's actually happening because I don't have a lot to grab onto from a story perspective at this point.
Also, what we're allowed to be able to do too, because one of the issues I know you have with some of these horror games are like, well, can I do anything when something shows up, or do I have to just fucking like hide?
It depends. Like I'm actually more inclined to play a walking simulator than I am to play like a hiding simulator.
Yeah.
Because at least when I'm walking, I'm doing something as opposed to
That's
just
true.
like get in this closet and sit there going,
it's coming for me.
Right. Until
God.
So,
Yep. All the things I didn't do.
That was coming early 2024.
Could be good.
Then we got some RoboCop. I'm starting to think this RoboCop game is going to be fucking awesome.
I'm very excited for this game to the point where I might just buy the Alex Murphy editions just so I can play it early.
So this one's like the story trailer, like new gangs have moved into Detroit and you got to go out and RoboCop them up. You got to go out there and shoot him with RoboCop. I really like how much Lewis is in all of this stuff now. Like she wasn't there early on, but I think Ann Lewis is a great character who never gets a little overshadowed from time to time by RoboCop. It does seem though, do you think that from these that you're going to play as her from time to time?
I'm not sure, because that's the tricky thing about some of these shots is some of these could just be like you following her and she's walking around.
Right.
Because that's what happened in the beginning, the demos that I kept seeing.
Yeah.
Because by the time I got my PC, the demo was already off. So I couldn't download it because it was like a limited time thing. I'm very excited for this. This is supposed to take place before part 3. So I'll just treat it like part 3 instead.
Before the bad times.
Yeah, before the jetpack times.
Also, wasn't part 3 like OCP wanted to kick everyone out of their apartments and then like RoboCop becomes like anti-landlord jetpack man?
Yeah, because like it's all based on Frank Miller's original RoboCop 2 script.
Oh.
So they just took a lot of that. The ideas they didn't use for it and then put it into that movie. But then they were like, but it has to be for the kids now.
Right.
So they made it PG-13 and added a small child who can hack, machinery and shit.
Right.
But Stephen Root's in it, so that's cool.
Is it?
I guess. I like Stephen Root, so
okay.
And he's good in it for
I'm not saying I don't
small parts that he's in it. So.
I dislike, but I've never been like, man, that movie was sucking, and then Stephen Root came on and I was like, oh yeah, now we're talking. Now we're cooking, baby.
I just remember being surprised because I hadn't seen it in a long time.
Yeah.
And this was like a few years back when I decided to show it to my older roommate.
It was before you recognized him.
Well, I had knew Stephen Root for a while. The problem was I hadn't seen RoboCop 3 prior to that for like 15 years or something like that. And then I watched it and I was like, oh, Stephen Root's in this?
Yep.
Because I remembered like some actors that were in it. Also, like it was the movie where Peter Weller wasn't in it either.
He wasn't in RoboCop 3?
He was, yeah. He isn't RoboCop in RoboCop 3.
Oh, shit.
Which is fair.
Okay.
I can't blame him for not doing it.
I do like the fact that when I played the demo, I noticed this too, and I do like the fact that I feel like they turned the gore meter all the way up to make it match the Paul Verhoeven just fucking like 60-gallon blood packs that come out of everyone's chest every time they get shot.
Yeah, RoboCop is such a crazy series, and I can't wait for this game.
You know what? I was watching this, and it reminded me, and so I went and I watched that YouTube video where the people remade
the remake one.
Yeah, with the cardboard and the puppets.
Yeah,
and
if
stuff.
you guys have never seen these, look these up because there's a lot of them. They're always like it's always a movie / remake or whatever. They also do cartoon versions of these where they just get a bunch of people to do very specific scenes of the movie, and so you'll get stuff that ranges from like a guy in cardboard to the most fucking intricate sequence of somebody shooting off a lot of dicks.
Yep.
That's a very famous one that came from that specific thing. And so, yeah, I highly recommend looking those up. There's that one. I know there's an Empire Strikes Back one.
I watched
I think there's an Alien one, too, or something.
Was it just the boardroom scene that they do from RoboCop, or did they do more than that?
It's the entire movie.
Oh, okay. I've only ever seen the boardroom scene.
If you Google, because they're always on Vimeo because you can't put them on YouTube usually because they're super fucked up.
Right.
But the entirety of the RoboCop one that's the one you remember part is the puppets part.
Right.
But the one everyone else remembers is the part where he shoots the guy in the dick. But what happens is that a bunch more rapists come out. So he's just shooting guys in the dick for like 3 minutes straight. And it's so well made. It's like the most well made part of the entire remake, which is why it's so fucking funny.
all I know is that when I watched that again, I was watching it, and it's so accurate to the movie, except that they add like a few things. And one of the things they add for that boardroom scene where they show the Ed 209 for the first time is the guy that gets shot in there. He has like a bunch more lines about how he's like getting ready to go on a vacation with his wife and how he loves his life so much. He just got a promotion.
Really funny.
Like all these things, and then at the end, they can't get the Ed 209 to stop shooting his dead corpse. Like it's just going on and on and on.
Well, yeah, you guys, I highly recommend looking this up. I think there's just called My RoboCop Remake or some shit like that. I used to have a bookmark for it because I watched it so often.
Yeah,
and there's a lot of great cartoon ones that like that. Like I said, there's one they did one off the Spider-Man '60s cartoon.
I want DLC really for this game to make it into. I want the Ed 209 to have the black legs coming out of the bottom from that thing. Anyway, that's coming out almost
soon.
Like
and if you buy the Alex Murphy edition, it comes out on Tuesday.
Next Tuesday?
Yeah, it comes. If you buy the Alex Murphy edition, you can play it earlier. So I think it's like I want to say it's on the 31st. So that's why I said I'm tempted to do it that way because I'm getting. But also I'm tempted to do it because it comes with the outfit too.
Yeah,
I kind of want that outfit. Yeah. So I don't know. I'll figure it out.
Can we? Okay. You know what? Quick digression. I talked with Amanda about this. I think it was last week. But what do you have any thoughts about this? I feel like in the last like 3 or 4 months, we've seen way more games that have this new like buy the more expensive version and you get to play it like a week ahead of time or 4 days early, or like specifically talking about like Starfield and Mortal Kombat. It was like you get it on Friday and it doesn't come out until Tuesday. So it's like if you pay more, like people that have jobs can play it over the weekend, right? As opposed to having to wait until the weekend after that. I'm kind of on the fence about it because on the one hand, it's like, if this is the scumbag way that they want to make their money, then like I'm kind of okay with it because
I'm okay with it if it's like single player stuff.
Yeah,
not so much if it's a multiplayer game.
Oh, because you can get like a leg up on the XP.
Yeah, so if it's like Call of Duty or something, I think that's kind of lame.
Yeah,
but if it's like this game, I'm like, okay, I'm all for that.
Yeah,
because it's not even that much more expensive. I think it just makes it a $70 game.
Oh,
compared to I want to say is the default 60 or something like that.
Interesting.
And so that's one of the ways they've been like able to increase the price for some things that are still selling on like slightly like that aren't considered like AAA,
right?
And so it's like, okay, well that's one way of like making that work. And they're giving you stuff for it too.
I kind of just consider it to be like an additional incentive to purchase like the collector's edition, right?
Usually, like
because you're never only paying for early access.
Yeah, because I didn't even know that was the thing. That was what I was getting with the Mortal Kombat 1 one.
Yeah.
I had no clue.
Me neither, because they announced it like right before the game came out, which is why I had to do the whole refund dance.
Yeah, it randomly showed up, and then so I pre-ordered a physical one for this, but it'll come out on the 2nd.
Yeah,
if that happens. If not, I'll just buy the
I think it's like one. I would consider that, to be honest. Like, it's kind of it's a little bit of a dick punch for me because I always want to get stuff out early for the channel, right?
Yeah.
And so it's like, we're just going to increase the price of everything by 10% because you run a YouTube channel. But on the other hand, we're really swimming in games right now. Like,
it's not really an issue for you at the moment.
Yeah, like if it was the middle of the summer, I might do it, but I think I might wait. Mostly because, like, by the time y'all hear this, like the Asylum's going to be going, and like, Monday, Tuesday's videos are also there's going to be double videos. There's going to be double videos starting on Friday. Every day there's going to be 2 videos.
I didn't even know that.
And because there's Asylum and then the Dojo, right?
Oh, okay.
And then on Sunday there's going to be the Asylum, the Dojo, and this fucking podcast. That's too much for even me it's my own thing. Like, I don't even know. Like, it's taken me weeks to build up this level of shit. I don't even know what to do. I'm like, do I just stop and not put this video? I'm like, fuck it. Fuck it. Time moves on. We got to keep going.
It's true.
All right. Next, we had the Dungeons of Hinterberg. I do not care for this video game.
I don't either.
I do not care for it, Michael. I get what they're doing. It's just, it doesn't really tickle my fancy. It looks like I kind of dig the art style a little bit, but this idea of just like, oh yeah, it's kind of Persona, right? You're like, you're gonna hang out with people, you're gonna develop relationships, you're gonna do Animal Crossing chores, and then you're gonna do some kind of generic dungeon crawling in between. The dungeon crawling is not like compelling looking to me at all. It looks very generic.
I'm not impressed with its animations.
Yeah.
is part of it. There's some sequences even in the trailer that like seems to run a little slow.
Yep.
So I don't know. It doesn't look all that interesting to me. Like it feels like not a half-assed attempt. It feels like a lower level attempt at making something like the way Persona and stuff tends to be.
I'm also not as like a lot of times if there's a game that has the relationship building stuff, right? Where it's like, oh, you're gonna develop a friendship. What's your
look
best
at
friend?
her run cycle.
Yeah.
It's like the same either way.
I kind of don't want you guys mixing that stuff up too much because I'm gonna get really tired of this stuff. Of the talking stuff, and be like, no, I want to go back to the dungeon. It's gonna be like, no, it's day 2. Go talk to your grandma on the phone for 4 hours and hear her life story. And I'm like, I don't care. I want to kill the bad guys. I think this is the one though that also where the sword is like a skateboard.
I think so,
or like a hoverboard or something.
It looks sort of like that.
And I know there was a previous trailer for it. Because I've seen it before and I didn't care for it then either.
It's just one of those games that I feel like I'm happy that they were able to make it.
Yeah,
but it's definitely not going to be for me.
Yeah, I really don't think it's for me.
I'm sure it's going to be for somebody, but it's not me.
I don't know. Maybe I'll check it out. It's because it's going to be on Game Pass, right? So check it out on Game Pass. But it's not really giving me much. There's just something about it that doesn't. It's like just use my
I like
words.
its art style though.
Yeah. Let's see. After that, we got this was Spirit of the North 2.
Okay. So I didn't see this one, so
Spirit of the North was the game where you play as a little fox.
Yeah.
And you run around. It's kind of like an adventure puzzle game. This one, it appears you have like a bird friend, and they both have some kind of cyber / magical bullshit. Usually when it's teal and glowing like that, that means cyber, but like I don't know, it could be some kind of like forest magic or something.
Yeah,
like
it's hard to tell with some games.
This is another one where I'm like,
sure, I guess
it's fine.
You're into foxes, I guess.
Yeah, I feel like there's kind of a whole group of these. Like the one that I probably got closest to was Pathless. Was kind of, I feel like I might kind of put into something like this, and even that I got bored of. But
you like the idea of Pathless.
Yeah, there's a one a man and I played where you play as a monkey. It was like 2 years ago where you're swinging through the trees.
I vaguely remember, but I don't remember the name of it.
And that one was really interesting because the mechanics were very kind of tight, but then it was very much about deforestation because in level 3 you start running away from like people that are cutting down the entire place where you live and like setting it on fire and clear cutting and stuff, and then I guess there was that one that I played with Tessa where you play as a little spider that waves its arms around, but I just too gross. I don't like spiders. So yep. Let's see. After that, we got here's something I'm interested in. Sort of.
I definitely saw this
a little bit. Metal Gear Solid 3 Snake Eater. We got to see some actual footage of what the game's going to look like on the Unreal Engine 5. Oh wow! Look, it looks really good. Who could have guessed?
Well, it looks really good, but people have their criticisms at the moment for some of the. They feel like some of the what's the word looking for. Mood, I guess, isn't as there because there's a very specific sort of like look to the area when you do this part in the original game that's kind of gloomy kind of thing, but everything looks very clear here, and a lot of people like because Kojima's very specific about the way things look, and so it's just one of those things where like they feel like it might change the tone of some moments or something like that, which I can kind of understand that kind of criticism. Because some stuff is stylistic, and people were just worried that they might try to make things look too like everything's real kind of thing, and that might cause some weird issues with it.
Gamers don't deserve anything.
I'm just saying. No, I get where they're coming from because that stuff like that happens all the time in remakes. So I get it. Yeah, I think it looks great personally, but I get it.
I think it looks really good, and I think if you're complaining about it, that you should just go back and play fucking Snake Eater. Like I don't know.
The Masters Collection's out. Go ahead, guys.
Yeah, I
know you're bitching about that too, but go ahead.
Actually, no, we'll get to that. I think this looks fine. I mean, like, it's I don't complain that Twin Snakes changed things because I realize it's a separate SKU. This isn't even called Metal Gear Solid 3. It's called Metal Gear Solid Delta,
Yeah,
right?
that's true.
Like, this is a full remake. Of course, shit's going to get changed.
I did have issues with Twin Snakes, though, but mostly it's soundtrack.
Oh, no, I had issues with Twin Snakes.
I hate the soundtrack to that game.
But I've resolved myself to the opinion of I'm not a fan of the Twin Snakes, not like, why aren't you Metal Gear Solid Twin Snakes? And it's like, because it's called Twin Snakes, right? So...
I love my friend's explanation for Twin Snakes, which is like Twin Snakes is if like a guy that you met tried to explain Metal Gear Solid to you
like from memory,
and was like, yeah, and Snake did this fucking epic backflip and shit, and you're like, no, that did not happen, dude, but that's how he remembers it, so I'll let him have it.
I don't know, this is fine. To be honest, here's what I'll say. I like the fact that I can recognize all the areas.
Yeah.
That the geometry of the areas is pretty much identical to what it was in the other games. Like, I was like, oh, like at the very beginning, not even like this part where they're on the mountain, because that's really kind of easy to recognize. But at the very first part, I mean, I'm sure everybody like recognizes it. But when he comes up to the tree and there's like the grass and the guy like this, I recognize this. I've been in this area a billion fucking times. I know what this is. As far as tone goes, what I need to see is a demonstration of what a cutscene looks like.
Yes, that's definitely what I need.
Because the moment-to-moment gameplay, to me, as far as tone and stuff goes, is not as important as are the cutscenes framed in the exact same way that they were in the previous one? Because I got news for you. This show will be out on the PC at some point. You guys can go in and mod in the right lighting.
That's true, yeah.
They can put out the Kojima patch where they change the time of day. It's also possible that they might not, because this takes place early in the morning, right? Because the sun comes out right as you jump out of the plane. And it's possible that for this technical demo, they might have changed the time of day just to give everybody a much clearer look at like what the game looks like. So I don't know.
That's true. No. We'll see how the actual game itself is, because this is clearly just like this is what the game will look like.
Yes. Yeah. It's kind of
and
like
it looks gorgeous, to be honest.
Style demonstration more
I think
than
it
like,
looks so good.
Yep. Yeah, I can't fucking wait to play it. Even though I've played Metal Gear Solid 3 a whole bunch of times, I do like when there's like when Demon Souls came out, and it's like I've played some Demon Souls so many times. And here I go again.
Yeah.
Oh, shit. Here we go again.
It's one of those things where, like, somebody's like, are you going to do that? I'm like,
of course I am.
Yeah, of course I am. Like, the answer is, like, if you give me an excuse, I will do any of those games, which is why I'm playing Metal Gear Solid 1 again. Right now.
Right. Like, how many times did you play through Spider-Man 2016?
Like 5 times.
4 or 5? Like,
and I beat Metal Gear Solid 3 like 5 or 6 times.
Oh, yeah.
And that was before they released it on a 360 and PS3.
Yep. Anyway, looks like a good remaster to me. Yeah. From there, this. Okay. Man, I don't know what people fucking want with shit.
Okay. We passed it already. It was that Manor Lords.
No. I know. I was just looking how many things are left.
Okay.
Manor Lords. This is like some kind of medieval, like, we're going to build a village, and then we're going to make an army, and then we're going to go overthrow the king, and then we're going to go raise the other villages, and it's like a real-time strategy.
It's a game you've seen like a million times.
Plus space building. Yeah, I don't get these games because when they have a fully functional medieval village, I'm like, well, that's garbage, and I hate it. So
people want to be like Bender, Jeff. They want to be God.
I guess so.
They were doing very well until everybody died.
Yeah. So it's got some kind of like little combat engine. I think this looks absolutely ridiculous. These guys fucking hitting each other with sticks.
Because it like zooms in on something that you normally would see from a distance, kind of thing.
But even so, it's like everybody's wearing pastels, and it's like they're really fighting in the stupid times over here, where you're just like, my stick, my stick. So
you trained how to fight there. You can't fight like that here.
It's gonna be on Game Pass. It's gonna be on PC Game Pass. So I don't want to spend any more time with this. I can't even accurately describe it as it's just some of the medieval fucking city bullshit.
There's a lot of games like this that are out there.
April 26th. Let's see. After that, we got a trailer. I think we've seen this game before for The Finals.
We have. I just don't remember.
Wait.
This is the one that we thought was like, whatchamacallit?
The other one? The one that got canceled?
No, this isn't the one that got canceled. This is the one that's wait, was this the one that we thought was the one that got canceled?
No, I don't know. I know what this one is. This is the one where people explode into coins when they die.
I do remember that. It's just like can't remember. Yeah, we have seen this game before. I just don't remember.
I think there was even a beta for it, like a closed beta.
I think so.
For it.
I can't remember if that was the case, but I do remember the coins thing.
Yeah, and this.
But I just remember us being like, "What the fuck is this?"
Yep. This one is the one where you can destroy stuff.
Yeah.
So you can like destroy buildings and knock stuff down. And it's a very like it's one of those like you've got to like capture money and then like hold out and then take the money to an extraction point or something.
Oh yeah. Now I definitely
Teams
remember
of
which one this one
three.
was.
It's like that other game.
This was the hero shooter one.
Yeah, it's like that other game that got canceled by Sega, or the Creative Assembly was making, but it's not that. This one's by Nexon, and I'm just as uninterested in this as I was in the other one. Like,
this is another attempt at trying to make something that's like esporty that like people will want to play.
Yeah, I like the way they explode into coins. I think it's a really cool looking effect.
It's got a nice design and everything.
Yep,
that's really what I really like about it.
Real crisp.
But it's used on a game like this, and I don't really care about that.
Yep. Yeah. So there's going to be a beta. There's going to be an open beta. There's actually an open beta going on probably right now. Yes, probably right now.
Yeah.
Let's see. From there, God damn it. Michael, do you care about Ark?
No.
Okay, good, because I don't either.
I don't think anyone does, except for they added Vin Diesel apparently the second one.
So, yeah, but I don't know if we talked about this before, but this isn't even Ark 2. This is the Unreal Engine 5 remaster of the first Ark.
Oh.
That is replacing the original Ark. I don't know if you were on where they had like this whole pricing debacle.
I remember, yeah. No, I was on for that one.
Where it was like, oh, it's gonna cost $50 for you to get this Ark remaster. Also, we're shutting down all the servers for the first Ark. We're like, well, wait a minute, I bought it. I don't want to buy it again. And it's like, well, if you buy it, you get Ark 2 for free with it, I guess.
Yeah, it was a really shitty thing of them to do.
I don't want Ark 2. I don't know what Ark 2 looks like. You put out one trailer for it. They're like, So there's actually a lot of question about whether this, like what the deal is with this. It is actually out right now in early access on Steam. It is $45.
I didn't even realize that. Yeah, no, I don't really care about Ark. It's one of those games that like streamers and stuff tend to love showing off, but like every time you look at Ark, you're like, that looks like it could be cool, but then you remember what it is.
Yeah.
And then you got to deal with a bunch of nonsense you just don't want to deal with.
Yep. There's a guy riding a raptor with a fucking RPG. It's like a spaceship.
Yeah, which sounds cool until you remember how the shit you got to do to get to that point.
Yeah. I mean, it looks really nice. Unreal Engine 5 looks real nice.
It does, yeah.
Nothing wrong with the way that it looks. It's got animals and areas and all kinds of stuff. But yeah, also dragons.
It got real big as time went on, but I don't know.
Yeah,
I found it interesting they even decided to do this for a game like this.
It seems like to me it's just money, right? They just were porting Ark over to Unreal 5 for development of Unreal 2 or of Ark 2, and then they were like, why don't we just put this out as like its own thing with like some bells and whistles, and then we could charge them $50.
That's really what it comes down
to. And we'll close down the old servers so that they have to pay us $50.
It's the closing down the old servers where it's like a shitty thing to do, though.
Yep. Let's see. And then I believe last but definitely not least, we got a trailer for / some actual gameplay footage. John pointed out to me that we've seen Alan Wake 2 running on the PC. We've seen Alan Wake 2 running on the PlayStation. This will be the first time that we've seen Alan Wake 2 running on the Xbox Series X. So, although Remedy don't make it easy to evaluate because it's a very like cuts trailer. So
I love Remedy to death, but their trailers are hard to tell what's going on sometimes.
Yeah.
But that's also good because you don't know what's going to happen once you play the game.
That is true. I was watching a Tech Foundry video for Alan Wake 2 to decide which place to buy it, and it's just a performance evaluation, and they had like 2 seconds that was like, that's a fucking spoiler. Like, oh, what the hell? In fact, yeah, I wanted to mention it on here. Don't watch the Tech Foundry PS5 Alan Wake 2 video, because there are spoilers in it.
There's a review apparently that has spoilers in it too. I want to say
the IGN
one.
Yep. Looks real good. I mean, Alan Wake 2 is getting big ups from the critics right now.
Yeah, I've seen some critics be like, every 20 minutes or so, I'm like, how's this game fucking real?
Right.
It's apparently like how good and ambitious it is.
Yeah.
Which is great, because Remedy was very ambitious about the first one. They just couldn't do what they wanted.
Very true. They've got a lot better. They've got a lot better at their craft over time. After Control, I'm very interested to see what this does.
Yeah, it makes me very excited for not only this, but also what happens with the Max Payne remakes.
Yeah. Wait, is we Max Payne remix?
Yeah, they're remaking 1 and 2, remember? They announced this a long time ago.
Oh, maybe it's been so long that I forgot.
They haven't shown anything new in a long time, but every now and then a new star will come out being like, no, we're still working on it, and we're going to be like, we're doing like a whole overhaul of a lot of stuff.
Okay,
so I'm very excited.
They actually show like actual, just regular old gameplay. It's mostly just one character kind of walking around. It seems to be kind of a sub 30. I do like the fact there's a part where they're walking down the stairs, and they very specifically don't look in this mirror because there are not reflections in it on the consoles. It looks like it's going to be fine on consoles if you're mostly looking to play 30 frames per second. I was more impressed with with this person, where it's like this enemy where it looks like the enemy is waist deep in water, and then there's like a reflection of them underneath them.
Yeah.
Even though the character here is not underwater. So it's like, okay, if you stand there and look at like the cabinets, the detail might not be there, but if you're fighting this fucking horrible, spooky monster person, you're not going to be like, hey, wait a minute, there was no reflection in that cabinet.
Yeah, it's a game that like is very much going to be like, the details are going to be where they count.
Yeah.
Especially at least when you're playing it. And so, because Remedy's really good about that sort of thing. So, yeah.
Also, what I learned from Tears of the Kingdom is that if a game is good enough, it doesn't have to be super high frame rate.
No,
it could be just regular schmegular. As long as it's a good game that I'm interested in. It's like, if the compellingness of the gameplay and the story goes down, then I'm going to need the fidelity to go up to kind of compensate for what I'm missing. But this looks cool. So yeah, can't wait to get my hands on it. Really, you think about like last week Spider-Man came out, and then this Friday Alan Wake 2 comes out, and like next week RoboCop comes out, and like in between Ghost Runner 2 comes out. It's just like, what?
There's so much coming out. And like a Mario Wonder came out this week.
Oh yeah,
last week.
Yeah, I've been playing that. Man, that game rules.
Even that Sonic game everybody's really liking so far.
Yep.
It's a hell of a fucking year.
I even didn't hate it. I didn't hate that Sonic game as much as I disliked a lot of other Sonic games. It's no Mario Wonder at all.
No, but the fact that you had any enjoyment at all of it is a shock, to be honest.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm just a little salty in the comments. Somebody, I feel like, was ribbing me for the idea that I was like, $60 for a Sonic game? Ridiculous. $60 for a Mario game? Give it to me immediately. And I'm like, well, yes. Mario games are of an incredibly higher quality than Sonic games.
Yeah, no, that's how everybody should feel about that.
Yeah. Like,
as much as I think Sonic is an interesting enough character that people like him a lot, he's not my character that would make me want to spend $60 on him immediately.
Yeah. Give me a $30 Sonic game. That's fine. That's reasonable.
$30, $40 at most. Like, I'm cool with that.
And that was it. That was the Xbox Partner Showcase. It was 28 minutes long. I want to see more stuff like this. Like just a bunch of trailers strung together.
Xbox needs more stuff where they're like, hey, we are still getting games, guys.
Yep. Even just showing off stuff that I already know about that's going to be on multiple consoles, it's still fine. And and
a lot of this stuff, we never really saw before to begin with. So I'm very excited.
It was a good little showcase.
Apparently, RoboCop's doing a Series X contest right now or something like that.
Oh, to like win a Series X?
Yeah, it's a Series X that's like got like a RoboCop theme, and it's got like a RoboCop controller.
Okay.
I'm like, I kind of want that controller by itself at least, but I doubt you'll sell it.
Got to retweet your favorite RoboCop quote to the Xbox account or something.
I think it's like a Nacon or whatever their whatever the fuck the name of the publisher is. I think that they're doing it.
Oh,
I saw it on the Facebook page for it.
Yeah. It's not Nacon, or wait, maybe they might be the publisher.
Teon? I can't remember.
Teon is the one that's. Oh no, okay, yep. Nacon totally published it. Yep, well, yep.
Yeah, their Facebook has like had the thing for it's like sign up for the sweepstakes. It's like, that's kind of neat.
It's because the developer is Teon, and I was like, no, it's not Nacon. You're thinking of Teon, and then I was like, wait a minute, I don't know who the publisher is.
No, yeah, the publisher's doing it. I think I know it's on their site or whatever. But if you guys, I say look into it because I don't know when that thing ends.
Well, yeah, look at that. We still got time to spare. All right.
I'm shocked by that, to be honest.
Yeah. Let's do one more story about Alan Wake before we take a break. So one of the other things that we found out, and by the time this comes out, most people should know this. Maybe not. Maybe you at home don't know this. Alan Wake 2 got its PC specs which I really honestly think that they should put this shit out way earlier. Like,
I don't know why they don't. I think sometimes it's because they're still trying to make sure it still works before that point.
Yeah. There's going to be a theme in part 2 that's about how game developers need to quit. The calendar needs to be like, finish the game, then 2 months go by, then the game comes out. Not like finish the game and then tomorrow it comes out and like we're desperately trying to get through cert to get it out. Anyway, so yes, we did get the PC specs for Alan Wake 2, and they are hefty. So
they're very hefty.
Minimum requirements to run the graphics on low at 1080p, 30 frames per second is an RTX 2060 with DLSS turned to quality and an i5 7600K or AMD equivalent, 16 gigs RAM, 90 gig storage. What's weird is that like when you get up to like medium for 1440p, it's like an RTX 3060, 30 frames per second, balanced DLSS, and like a Ryzen 7 3700X or an Intel equivalent. But like if you get all the way up into the high specs, right? Like the high ray tracing settings are RTX 4080, still with DLSS such performance, and then like a Ryzen 730 700X or Intel equivalent. I'm mostly pointing this out because like I'm very disheartened that it appears that I've been having this suspicion for a little while, and it worries me greatly that the 4000 series RTX cards came out, right?
Yeah.
And they like doubled the number of tensor cores to do RTX or to do DLSS, not RTX, DLSS on those cards. So like they're way better at doing frame interpolation on the 4000 series cards, which is why like we had that video where they were like, you can run Overwatch 2 at 250 frames per second, and it's like, who has a monitor that can run at 250 frames per second? But what I'm worried about is that this current generation, that they're not even considering like people like me that have 2-year-old hardware, like through the 3000 series cards that I paid a good chunk of money for, because it's easier just to let the AI frame generation on the 4000 series cards make up the difference. You don't have to optimize at all. You don't have to do any kind of optimization. You never have to make a decision about whether we want to have like, do we want to go more for quality? Do we want to try baking in some of these lighting maps? Like you can just release a kind of unoptimized version of your game, because even the Xbox and the PlayStation 5 versions of Alan Wake 2 are using FSR2, the AMD upsampling tech, to get to their resolutions. So I'm really getting worried. Like I actually liked the tech when it first came out, because it was like, oh, here's a great way that we can squeeze even more performance out of old cards, right? But if I've got a 2-year-old video card and they're just like, yeah, that's not enough, you fucking jackass. Well, you want to play Alan Wake 2? You need a $3,000 computer to play Alan Wake 2. You want to play Alan Wake 2 with 2-year-old hardware? This is Alan Wake. Like this is Remedy. we only put out things that run on the highest quality, and it's like, wait, Remedy is doing this?
Yeah,
no.
not the one I expected to be the one that needs that.
Right. And like, don't get me wrong, the video that we just watched and everything, like it still looks good on the consoles, but I guess I'm just worried that we're like, I was telling you before, I just got done playing Spider-Man 2. Spider-Man 2 has a ray trace performance mode on the PlayStation 5. 4K, 60 frames per second, some ray tracing turned on. And I'm like, okay, I know this console can do that because I just got done doing it.
Yeah.
Like if I load up Fortnite, it will run at 4K, 60 frames per second with ray tracing turned on. And Fortnite looks very nice.
It does.
So I'm really worried that we're getting into this thing where they're shortening development budgets, and not doing the step of optimization, that they're hand waving through optimization in order to get the game out the door, in order to cut the budgets to be able to work on it like right up to the last moment, because you don't have to finish the game and then do optimization passes to make sure that everything runs really well. You can just put out a game that kind of runs like garbage, and then FSR2 or DLSS will pick up the slack on the other side. And it really worries me, because it means that if this becomes the norm in game development, that moving forward we could have these games running like a dream, but it's mostly going to be padding the pockets of the publisher by shortening the development cycle, by removing the optimization stuff that you would want to do in order to get stuff going. I don't know. Do you have any? I don't know how much you think about this stuff. But
Well, the thing is, I don't think about it that often, mostly because I'm not a PC gamer.
Yeah,
and that tends to be the people who think about it the most. And I've never been the guy who's like, I need everything to run at 60 and everything as jacked up as high. I'm just like, I just need the game to run and look good to my eyes.
Yeah.
Which my sense of like good is lower than most people's.
Mm-hmm.
Like I can play a PS1 game and still be like, this looks great. Whereas like I know people who will look at a PS1 game, they're like, why does this look so terrible? And it's like, because it's what it was at the time.
It's a PlayStation 1 game.
Yeah, and so that comes up every now and then. Somebody will be like, well, if you played on emulation and you smooth all these things out, it'll look super clear. And I'm like, but then it looks weird because it's a PS1 game.
Sure.
And it wasn't designed to look like that.
Yeah.
Because that's the thing is most people who think about that are the people who are willing to do that and have a very specific sense of what they want something to look like. I'm just like, look, if it runs and doesn't crash on me, I pretty much will do anything you want. Like when it comes in, or I'll play anything you want at that point. Like I just need it to run smoothly, and I have no qualms outside of that.
Okay. I mean, I think that maybe the problem, I think that I might have fallen into a specific trap too of like, by getting a PC. No, what it is that I've seen what it can look like, and normally like what it can't, the best looking stuff really only becomes like widely available for a reasonable price like 5 years after down the line, right? So I probably just need to wait for 5 years. You hear that, guys? We're not going to play out and wait for 5 years. Jeff's got to wait for the tech to catch up. I don't know. It's just, the thing is that it's such a difference. To me, it's very night and day. The fact that we've got games like Spider-Man that can look really good and run really well, and then we've got games like Lords of the Fallen that just like chug and are really difficult to apparently run, or all these PC ports of like the Sony games like the Uncharted's or Last of Us, and they always come out and they always have a shitload of problems, and it's just like, I don't know. When we come back from break, we're going to talk about the Metal Gear collection, which is a perfect example of what I'm talking about. So actually, I'm going to shut up and we're just going to take a break, and then we come back. We're going to fucking rip on the Metal Gear Solid collection for like, I don't know, 4 hours or something. We'll be right back. Yep, it's time. It's time to talk about the Metal Gear Solid Master Collection.
Yes, it is.
Came out this week. We got the launch trailer for it, which, you know, is a bunch of Metal Gear. I actually was thinking about, so one of the things that I think has really informed the way that I think over the last couple of years, Michael, is I have to keep reminding myself that like there are some people in this world who are not Metal Gear super fans who haven't purchased every single version of Metal Gear that's come out on multiple platforms over and over again.
That's true.
Who maybe like
those people are weird.
Like they don't have the Xbox 360 backwards compatible version of Metal Gear Solid 3 HD collection to be able to play Snake Eater on, or, you know, like somewhere in this house there's a disc for just Metal Gear Solid 3 on the PS2.
Yeah, I own one. I own the original one, the original two, the subsistence version of 2 that was on this pack that I got, as well as the subsistence version of 3 that was on this pack I got. And then I didn't get the 360 ones, ironically enough.
Yeah.
Mostly because I felt weird playing it on a 360. So I decided not to.
I can see it.
But then I ended up I played Peace Walker on a PSP. I've played every Metal Gear game there is, and the only ones I've never finished are the Acid games because I didn't care for them.
Yeah, Acid and Ghost Babel are the only 2 that I've never really finished.
I beat Ghost Babel because I borrowed it from my cousin.
Yeah.
And because he owns it and I don't.
Oh, and I never played the original MSX2 Metal Gear 2.
I did all of those.
But anyway, so yeah, these games came out. Big pack, and apparently they're kind of ass.
They're mostly ass.
They're kind of ass.
Mostly.
Like there's a lot of stuff that's kind of weirdly missing, like the ability to resize the original games to
It's very strange.
like just windowed mode as opposed to like full screen stretch mode. Apparently you can't turn off the sidebars on MGS1.
Nope.
Like it makes it 16:9 by putting that weird like we're putting the weird blurred version of the game on the sides, right? Like at least that's what it was in the trailer.
No, it has this very weird border that kind of looks like the main menu.
Oh,
and that's it. Like you can't change the border.
You can just make it black.
Yeah, you can't just make it black either. I haven't found a way to, at least so far.
Yeah. Konami themselves came out and said that like there's like slowdown in some of the cutscenes in 2. Like there's
That's
like
weird
stuttering and like stuff that happens.
I haven't messed with anything past 1 and the MSX games.
Oh yeah, there's no like
the Nintendo one.
CRT scanline mode or anything.
It's just
like,
whatever's there. It's very weird.
I don't know if this got patched out, but there were some reports that apparently like since they put a pause button on the cutscenes for 2 and 3. But then some people reported who got early copies of it that like you would hit the pause button and it would take 10 seconds before the game actually paused.
That's crazy.
It's like, what?
That's the second game?
Yeah, apparently. I don't know if that's been patched in or like changed, but what the Switch version doesn't have anything on the cart except for the NES version.
Yeah, and the
so
MSX
you gotta go
ones,
download everything,
which is weird.
Like great,
Maybe that's how the discs is too.
Great job for game preservation there.
Yeah.
I've read some reports that the PC version, that what Metal Gear Solid Integral and Metal Gear Solid VR missions require like some language packs in order to work, and that those packs are just not listed on Steam, so they can't be downloaded, so you actually can't launch those titles on
you have to,
the PC.
Yeah, because the VR missions, there's like the American one, but the other ones weren't technically American versions.
Right.
Also, I realized as I was playing it that Metal Gear Solid 1 isn't even the full American version somewhat.
Really?
Because you remember when Meryl knocks out Johnny, it like blurs where his ass is to show that like he's just completely naked.
Sure.
He's in his underwear in this one, which is apparently a Japanese only thing originally.
Okay.
So I don't know why they did that. And it was very strange. I remember being caught off guard by it, and I was like, what the fuck? Okay, sure.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't like exactly ruin the gameplay, but it makes the joke less funny to me.
And then, the other thing is that they're all running at 30 frames per second, which I know is not like a big deal, but like, I mean, come on.
It's not a big deal for me, at
these
least.
are like a PlayStation 2 games, man. Like, and not just that, but I was telling you before, I went and loaded up the Xbox 360 backwards compatible versions of MGS2, 3, and Peace Walker on my Xbox, and they do run at 60 frames per second.
They do.
They do run in 4K as well, which these are running at 1080p 30. Like, wait, 1080p 30, and then there's like slowdown? What have you done, Konami?
It's very weird.
What have you done? Like,
because they say, like, when you look at them, they say they're supposed to be the HD collection versions, which are the ones that you played on your 360.
Right.
But they're not.
And those run like a dream.
Yeah.
I played through a whole shitload of both those games, or all 3 of those games, actually. And they run great on the next-gen consoles. And so, so Konami has like acknowledged that these are a thing, and then they said that, okay, well, we're gonna do some patches, we're gonna do the post-launch fix, and you know what? I just got done last week complaining about this, and I don't care. I'm gonna complain about it 2 times. My new fucking thing. Like, listen, if Alan Wake 2 comes out, and in 6 months there's like some patches that make it run better, that do whatever, like that's not ideal. But it's at least semi-understandable. there was no reason to rush this out the door.
No.
These are old ass games. Like, there's not a tie-in. It's not like there's a movie happening or there's an anniversary. In fact, you probably would have done better if you put this out like in Q1 of next year, when you weren't in the middle. You weren't between fucking Spider-Man and Call of Duty and fucking RoboCop and Alan Wake and all that shit I just got done listing
There's a
off.
lot of stuff that came out at the same time.
Yeah. Like, it would have been better if you did it right the first time, and it would have been better if you did it right and it was all on disc. Like, I kind of get why you couldn't. I kind of understand that you couldn't fit Metal Gear Solid 2 and 3 on the cart for the Switch. Like, okay,
Yeah.
that's shitty. I can understand it. There's no reason why you, who bought the PlayStation 5 version, should have to download anything. Like, those games should run off the disc like a dream. Like, just bam, bam, boom.
Yeah.
Good to go.
They have been out for a very long time. All three of, oh, actually, not just three, the entirety of all the games on there.
Yes. So, like, there's
Like,
just
there should be no patches for any of those.
there's no
things.
reason. There's absolutely no reason. And you know what's kind of fucked up is that, like, Konami, up until right this second, has had a pretty good track record with the Cowabunga collection, with the Castlevania collections that they put out.
The only updates they did for some of those were very, like, just some things that just didn't work that were not game related.
Yeah.
They were all, like, stuff that were the extra stuff.
But, like, you can't No Man's Sky piece or like a Snake Eater.
No, yeah.
It's like, hey, come on, man.
Also, the day one launch edition is very strange because all it does is give you 3 random songs that you can listen to on their little soundtrack thing.
Okay,
that's all
what?
it does. That's what. Yeah, because when I got it, it was like day one edition. I was like, well, what does that mean? It's like you get access to these 3 songs. I was like, what? And I've used the code. And because there's a soundtrack option in the extra section, and it's not even all the songs; it's just random songs from each game.
What?
And at the very end are the 3 songs it gave me, and they were just like newer versions of 3 specific songs, and they weren't even like songs with lyrics because it said Snake Eater Masters Collection Volume 1 version. And when I played it, I was like, okay, and then they're gonna start singing, right? No, it's just like an instrumental version of Snake Eater. I was like, okay, I guess.
Why would I want to listen to that?
Why would I need that? Like, what's so great? Like, it's not like I can use it in the game or something.
Right, it's like in a separate app.
I don't understand what the point of this thing is.
Yeah.
It was weird. I don't understand what they wanted from us on this thing. I don't know. It doesn't make any sense the more I look at it.
Yeah, I just like, the thing is that it would be really nice to have this. The only thing that, okay, so the only saving grace, maybe, like, I'm just trying to give Konami, I'm trying not to like bang Konami's balls too much.
Well, because at least they're saying they're going to do something about these things.
Yeah, the thing is that I'm starting to get really worried about all this. I mean, I know that I've been talking about it before, but like, maybe they'll fix it. Maybe, like, but it should already be fixed.
No, it should absolutely
I should not have
fixed.
to wait if the SKU is out there. And then, like, are they going to fix it for real?
Did
or
they
are they
ever
going to do?
finally fix the delisting of 2 and 3?
I don't know.
I don't think they even did that.
I don't know.
That was the thing where they're like, yeah, we lost access to some of the fucking stock footage. You're like, how did you do that?
Yeah,
Part of me thinks they lied about that, by the way, just for this launch.
Yeah, okay, so the only thing that might kind of make up for this eventually is like they've literally data mined and found. I mean, we all know there was going to be a volume 2,
yeah.
right? You don't put out a volume 1 without a volume 2, right? So you can put out volume 2. Volume 1 has MGS 1, 2, 3, Metal Gear 1, Metal Gear 2, and then like the NES versions of Metal Gear 1, Metal Gear 2, the motion comics, and the extra stuff, soundtrack, art books, blah, blah, blah.
A lot of like timeline stuff too.
So then volume 2 would have Metal Gear Solid 4, Metal Gear Solid 5, Peace Walker probably. I don't think they would put out any of the Portable Ops or Acid or any of that stuff.
According to the data mine, they didn't find anything for Portable Ops, Acid, or Ghost Babel.
Because those are all kind of like not... I mean, one, you don't need to play them, and 2, most of them aren't canon anyway.
Well, that's the thing. It's from what we can tell, the volumes are all canon games,
right?
Which is one of the reasons why Portable Ops wasn't re-released on, say, that that
the
collection they came out with.
Yeah. So the only like,
although Snake's Revenge isn't a canon technically, so
the only potential like the best case scenario would be if they fix all the problems with Volume 1, Volume 2 comes out, and it's either perfect, or then they have to fix the problems for Volume 2, and then eventually you get a like master edition that has all of those things with all of the fixes integrated into them, so that you can get like a copy that you could then just put in and play.
I just need Metal Gear Solid 4 in a way that's not like streamed anymore.
Yeah,
I really do, because I don't have my PS3 anymore, and I don't want to go out to buy PS3s just for a single game.
you can borrow my PS3. I got two PS3s.
Yeah, but I want to own them, kind of thing.
Yeah, I get it.
So that's the thing, because I used to own it, but I got rid of it because I just wasn't using it the way I wanted to, and also I needed money at the time. This was a long time ago.
Yeah,
when I was very desperate for cash. So yeah, I would just like to be able to play MGS4 again, like in a way, especially on a console that I currently own. That would be great, and also being able to play all of them at the same on just one console as well. That would be great.
Also, it would be nice not to have to like uninstall half the game and reinstall the other half of the game.
Yes, there's that too.
I mean, they already took care of that with like you can now install the whole thing on your PlayStation 3, but like. Yeah. So I don't know. What an incredibly shoddy launch, and that kind of sucks because, like I said, I feel like Konami's been doing a very good job. I haven't had a lot of shit to talk about Konami recently, but like this is what I expect out of old Konami. Just some slipshod bullshit. We're gonna fix Metal Gear Solid 2 after we released it. Like, no, you're not allowed to. That's too old. Like,
yeah, it's such a strange thing to happen, and I'm not worried that. I'm not worried that Konami will just take the ball and go home, kind of thing.
Yeah,
I would have been very early on. Like if this was the first thing they did instead of the Castlevania collection, this is how it was.
Yeah,
I generally would not have been surprised if Konami was like, well, fuck you guys, then we're gonna go back to pachinko machines.
Right.
Like they easily could now, still, but like I doubt they will now, because now people are like there's now an actual honor thing going on with them. So.
Oh, yeah. Also, it took about an hour and a half for somebody to release a 4K patch, a user 4K patch to get MGS3 on the PC to run in 4K. Because
I'm not surprised.
Of course it did.
No.
Which makes me think, because I think on the...
But how long did it take them to put in Thomas the Tank Engine?
Well... MGS1 and MGS2 are locked at 720p on the PC.
That's interesting.
Like, of course they did that immediately. It's like, look, I'm not trying to be like a fancy boy with my resolutions and my frame rates here, but like by the same token, I've already seen it running better than this. Like I have a console that runs these games better than this, and I have a PC that is orders of magnitude more powerful than the last time that I saw these things running very, very well. So like, come on, what are you doing?
Yeah, no. I want more people to be able to play Metal Gear Solid, but I want them to be able to play it in a way that's not like hindering their experience.
Yes, absolutely.
Because it's a series that's beloved for a reason.
Yep.
And I want more people to love it. Everyone who's listening, play Metal Gear Solid. It doesn't have to be this collection. For the love of God.
I want more people to have the brainworms that I have.
Yes. I want to be able to walk into a room and be like, Vamp isn't because he's a vampire, and have somebody finish that quote, no matter how awkward it is.
Yep. I want more people to have to hear Hal Emmerich's story about how he slept with his stepmom and fucked up his whole family.
Well, in his defense, Huey Emmerich is the fucking worst.
That is true.
Huey can go fuck himself.
That whole family is completely fucked up.
I remember being depressed by that in Metal Gear Solid 2 when it came out. Once you meet Huey Emmerich, you're like, no, fuck that guy.
Yep.
I'm glad he did what he did.
Yep. It actually makes Otacon look like the good, like, he's like, he rules.
Yeah, no, it turns out he's awesome.
Dad. Like,
yeah. Turns out the only bad thing that happened in that situation was that would happen with his stepsister.
Yep. Jesus. Metal Gear Solid 2 is a fucking brain.
It's fucking
brain
insane.
job, man.
It's one of the most batshit insane games I've ever played. And that's saying a lot, having played all 4 Metal Gear Solid games.
That was I mean, the first one, like, it was a little kooky. It was a little kooky,
but it was like, I could see this happening in a movie, kind of kooky.
And in the second one, a cyborg ninja comes out of nowhere and says the words "lale lule lo" to you with like no possible hint of like sarcasm. And your girlfriend won't stop bugging you while people are peeing in your face, and you're just like, God Shut up, Rose! For the love of
Why
God.
won't you talk to me about our relationship? Right, and I'm in the middle of a boss fight.
Yep.
I need you to not do this right now.
And there's all that shit with Fortune where it's like, oh, you know what? I shouldn't be talking about this because there are people that haven't played it, and I don't want them to be able to see this craziness for their own sake.
By the way, this is just Metal Gear Solid 2.
This is just 2.
We didn't even bring up what happens in 3 or 4, where those games are also insane.
You know what?
4 is actually kind of grounded compared to the others, surprisingly.
I think 3
Even
is more,
with the weird shit that happens in the third act.
3 is more grounded than 4 to me, if only for, I mean, I know there's a B commando, but like, you know.
Yeah, but that's normal for Metal Gear Solid.
4 goes off the fucking rails.
It does, but like, okay, no, you're right. Yeah, it really does. But I mostly think because the third act is where it really goes batshit insane.
Yeah.
Specifically the Mount Rushmore. And you know which Mount Rushmore I'm talking about.
Oh no, I know what you're talking about. I know what you're talking about.
I love that. I want a replica of that somewhere, by the way.
I mean, you know.
Just that specifically.
There's none that are as, like, if you can get through 2, you can get through anything.
Yes.
When the guy's arm takes over his brain, I'm like, I mean, like, don't get me wrong. You know what? I wish there was a drug that you could take that made you feel like you were 16, because I think everybody needs to be 16 when they play MGS2.
Oh, it's the deepest thing ever.
Because
when
you're just like, oh my God, I've never seen anything like this before. It's fucking amazing. And then you get the brain worms. They don't go away no matter how old you get.
I will always remember too fondly because of me because I've told the story a bunch of times. There's a certain point where the game gets kind of meta and somebody keeps calling you. And they're like, I need you to turn the game off. And it was like 3 or 4 in the morning. And I thought I was hallucinating. Mm-hmm. And I was like, you're right, game. I should turn you off.
Yep.
Good time. God, I love Metal Gear Solid. I love Metal Gear Solid so much, guys. My God.
It's so fucking crazy.
Oh, it's the best.
You know what? I think it's like what? John and I played Metal Gear Solid 1. And Jason and I played Metal Gear Solid 3. Someday you and I need to play 2.
We should go through 2.
Because 2 and 4, those are games for our kind of craziness.
It is. We're the only ones who understand it.
Yeah. I don't even need to look up the lore in order to be able to explain it. I can tell you all about it.
I can tell you about Vamp's weird relationships with so many people.
I can tell you about President Sears.
I love that the president, he was a president.
Is Dr. Octopus. Like, I fucking know.
That motherfucker was president. I tend to forget that. There's somebody who reads a history book, and that the history book ends with, and then he fucking took over a tanker as Dr. Octopus.
Yep. with his fat roller skating bomb nerd, his gay vampire, and I don't even know how to describe Fortune in one sentence. Like, it would take too long to explain Fortune.
The gay vampire's daughter's. No, the gay vampire's lover's daughter. Yes. Who can deflect bullets
with her mind, with her luck powers. Long shot. Like,
and then
anyway.
I don't even want it to go into Ocelot. That's a whole fucking can of worms.
Good Lord. Okay. All right.
Part 2 for Ocelot.
None of that happened. Okay. God, there's too many. I got too many stories. All right. That's what I said was going to happen. It happened.
It was Metal Gear Solid. It was about to happen.
City Skylines 2 is out, and the devs are working on a patch to make it better, because apparently this is the world we live in. Just don't play any games brand new. But there was also a whole thing where they talked about how, like, their target for the game was 30 frames per second. So you can run it at higher than that if you want to, but like their target goal was 30 frames per second because this isn't a first-person shooter, and like there's no real benefit to running any video game at like a higher frame rate. And it was like, no,
it's a city builder, so I can kind of get what they mean. They're like, we just need the game to be perfect in this way at least.
Okay,
and then if we have issues with 60 FPS, then we can fix it.
I was thinking about this too because it's just like, you know, if not 60 frames per second, why the fuck am I even bothering to play the new game? If they don't look any better than the last generation and they don't run any better than the last generation, why am I even fucking here? Like, like what is your anyway?
Sorry, it's just I hear it and it's just like, it's again, I just don't care.
No, I know, but like I did play the last one, and it's like
there's a lot of games that are coming out that like I get some of them just need it to work perfectly in the thing that they target.
Yeah,
and there's still patches coming out. Like they just fixed some stuff that happened with Spider-Man 2.
Yeah.
The cube Spider-Man is now no longer a thing, unfortunately.
I guess it's just fucking SimCity.
It is.
Like, I don't understand why you can't make SimCity run well. Like, if you're going to expect me to buy a whole second game,
I just don't know what 60 FPS is needed for a game like SimCity. Is all I'm saying.
Well, the thing is,
like,
that,
I'm not looking. There's not really a lot of action going on in that game for me to be like, why do I need this?
okay, I can tell you is because 30 frames per second is fine as long as the game is rock solid 30. But most of these games are not.
Oh, okay.
So it's 30 frames per second, and then when you go to like whip the camera around too fast, it dips down to like 20 or 18 or something like that, and then it starts chugging, and it's like it just feels nicer. And the thing is that all of the promises of this generation was that was going to be a thing.
It's true.
Between DLSS and between ray tracing and between the $500 consoles that I've fucking spent time trying to get, all of the promise of this generation was it's going to be faster, it's going to be smoother, it's going to look better. And the thing is that the screenshots of City Skylines 2 are good looking. They are not so good looking that I'm just like, yes, sure. I don't know. That's what's irritating the shit out of me. But then it's also not just frame rate, right? Because, like, here's the story. Payday 3 missed their next update. Like, they missed their target patch, and then they said, we're going to do it later, and they missed it.
Is this the original patch they were going to do, or which one is this?
This is supposed to be the first big patch. Like, not hot fix, bug fix, but, like, the first actual patch to, like, rebalance the game and make it more fun.
Oh, okay.
And they missed it. And they missed it with radio silence, which then led to a lot of ire in the community.
That would be bad. Don't do that, guys.
They finally came out and they basically said that. So the reason that I'm trying to get into this more than just, I'm trying to make this more than just frame rate is like what they said. When they talked about why did they miss it, it's because their production pipeline is so fucked up that they realized that if they put this patch out, they could potentially reset the progress of every person playing Payday 3, and that it wouldn't be a problem just for this patch, but for any subsequent patch that comes after it. Like, it was a problem in their actual development to the point where they're having to like redo the structural integrity of their patch system.
How do you even do that?
Well, that's what I'm saying, is that I feel like all this shit is half baked, man. It's just like, because you know what? Let me put my money where. Let me not just be completely complaining pants rage like Jeff. Okay.
Go on.
There is. We have a whole bunch of trailers. God only knows if we're going to be able to get to them if I don't shut the fuck up. We have a bunch of trailers.
I want to hear it legitimately.
That just happened for this indie horror game expo that happened last week, and it was a bunch of like release trailers and like announcement trailers and things like this. My God, is there so much interesting stuff happening in the indie horror game, like and not just horror, but in a lot of the indie space, right? So the idea that it's like these indie games are coming up with these really interesting and innovative ideas where they're taking existing concepts and doing something new and interesting with them, or blah 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 blah. And meanwhile, the fucking rob a bank game, the third rob a bank game that is not doing anything that is even remotely as complicated that hasn't been done before. Like that, it's not. I played it. It's not orders of magnitude more complicated than it used to be.
No,
is so fucked up. They've got to redo their patch pipeline. Meanwhile, I'm looking at the trailers for these horror games of like, oh, I've never seen anything that looks like that before. It looks great. And here it's like, you could spray paint a mask. But we fucked up the entire game engine to do it. And it's like, why? Why is it this hard? Like,
yeah, I don't. That's the thing about not even just game development. There's a lot of weird shit going on with developers. I feel like a lot of them are just, what's the word I'm looking for? Antsy, I guess is the best way of putting it.
Antsy?
Yeah, there's so many things that are going on in the game development world that I wouldn't be surprised if some of the issues that we're running into are people that are just worried about their jobs and stuff in general. Like I feel like it's a ripple effect that nobody seems to know, but like that could possibly be happening that like I don't think anybody is considering.
Yeah.
In this, especially this year. So I'm hoping that's not the case. Because if it is, then we're going to be in real trouble later down the line.
Yeah. Anyway, let's see. Also, Lords of the Fallen put out a big brand new patch that changes the game specifically. And this was an interesting patch because the like one of the heads of development literally went on podcast and say, we're never going to change that. It was as intended, blah, blah, blah. So one thing that I don't think you and I ever saw in Lords of the Fallen, but is apparently a thing, is that the enemies have no tethers. So if you aggro enemies, they will never stop chasing you.
They're just consistently after you.
And there's a lot of
That
places
explains
in
a
the
lot,
games
actually.
where there's such a density of enemies that if you like are fighting one enemy and then roll too far into the aggro range of another group, that then triggers another second group, and then they all come at you, and there's no resetting by running backwards. You'll just have like a train running after you. And they were like, well, there's like shortcuts where you don't have to get near the enemies, and like you got tools to deal with it. We're not going to change that. They changed it.
Yeah, because they probably got fucking eviscerated in reviews.
Yeah. So they changed it. They did some updates that basically makes enemies less aggressive and does put tethers on them where they'll turn around and go back to where they were.
The only depressing thing is I kind of wish we would have saw just one video where a guy just angered every single enemy he could and just like kept running to every area he could.
Well, I think that we saw that when we were
we did.
right
That's
before the
the
boss
thing.
when we went up to that other area, and then I was like running away, and it was like fucking 4 dogs and like 8 guys. I was probably like 2 guys and 1 dog, but like
I remember them
chasing
following
us down the stairs. Like
I was surprised by it. I was like, these motherfuckers are really after you.
yeah, because I was trying to do what I do in Souls games, which was get them to go back to where they went, like separate some of them from the pack. But
it explains a lot.
Yep. So anyway,
that game was not fun.
Oh boy, we're gonna blow through a bunch of these Blizzard news because I brought them up and now there's too much news. Blizzard once again halted Diablo 4 trading because they found an exploit. I had a whole rant on this.
They did.
I don't understand why they do this. Diablo 4 is a single fucking. I know it's online and other people, but like, who gives a shit whether my friend gives me a bunch of duped gold? Like, who gives a shit? Like, it just means that I can buy a more powerful weapon and have more fun playing the game. It's not like I'm going to win the esports Diablo 4 championship with my aimbot or my cheats, or I'm going to, like, get my guild up to too high of a level in World of Warcraft.
It's the live game thing where they're treating it like a live game, and they're trying to slow down people so they don't have a wave of people being like, well, I did everything.
Yep.
Where's the next thing?
Yep.
Like, so, like, because that's what they tried to do with Avengers, you remember?
Yep.
Like, people find the power-ups too daunting if they get them too quickly. They're like, that's the stupidest thing I've ever heard.
I think this is an incredibly bad thing because it's just like Diablo is a mostly single player experience, but you put it online, you hooked all this shit into it. Now it's like, I can't give my friend a axe that would be perfect for his build because it's like, well, no. But what if you made 2? And it's like, well, who gives a shit if I made 2? Then me and my friend could have twice the fun in this dungeon.
It's fucking weird. I don't know. The live service was a mistake.
Yep. But see, in addition, Diablo put out a statement because there were literally stories in the new Season of Blood where people were getting drop rates that they literally thought were bugs. Like, look at this screenshot of drops happening in the new Season of Blood in Diablo 4. And Blizzard was like, no. It's for you, the players. Look how generous we are. Except, like, we're going to turn it off if you try to give it to somebody else. Ah!
Oh, okay. So that's their way of, like, trying to even it out.
I don't know. I don't think this was in response. I don't think these 2 stories have any connection to each other. But
I feel like it's them not removing it as a way of keeping it balanced.
I guess.
Because maybe it was a glitch, and they're like, well, we need to fix that other thing, so let's pretend this is the thing we did.
One thing is certain, though. Blizzard is hungry for your money, but also your blood. I don't know if you've heard about this.
I've not.
Okay. So Diablo 4 is having the Season of Blood, their current event, right? And what they're doing is they want to get 666 quarts of blood. What this is Blizzard has teamed up with like the American Blood Association, so that when people give blood, they like track it. And then they've got milestone events that happen at 33%, 66%, 100% of like when people donate blood. If the grand total reaches 33% of their goal, everybody gets a thing. Reach 66%, everybody gets a thing. 7%, everybody gets a thing. There is a lack of blood right now, so this is actually like it's weird and macabre and smacks of old EA. Like
it does, but that's kind of a fun thing though.
Yeah.
But what I think is interesting is they allowed them to make the goal 666.
Right.
Like, because a lot of charities tend to be kind of Christian about their shit.
Yep.
And I wouldn't be surprised if there's one guy in the back going, "Is that a Satan number?" And like, no.
There's also one person is going to win. They're giving away a PC. a liquid-cooled PC which is infused with quote-unquote real human blood.
Not sure how that's going to work.
Probably took like a drop of blood and like mixed it in with the paint that they put on the case or something.
Probably
like
barely that.
You can't liquid cool a PC with like you wouldn't fill up the liquid cooling on a PC with blood.
No.
It just wouldn't work.
No, you got to keep it fresh is the issue.
Is that what?
No, it's not.
What am I thinking of? When there was a thing where somebody put blood in an engine. Was that an Aqua Teen Hunger Force episode?
There is something because there is an episode of something that did that exact joke.
Yeah,
and I can't remember what it is off the top of my head. But whenever I think about the blood thing, I always think of Johnny the Homicidal Maniac because he's always like painting his walls with blood.
Yeah,
and it's like you got to keep it fresh because it always changes into a different color if you leave it along too long. It gets me every time. I can't remember because I know
what it is.
I remember something like that. We need to cool down a car or something, and they fill it with blood, and the guy's driving, and he's like, "Is this blood?" Because he starts like pouring out of his car. I can't remember what it is off the top of my head, but I remember laughing really hard when that happened and whatever it was.
I'll have to find it. Somebody else,
you guys remember?
Yeah,
let us know because I can't remember what it is off the top of my head.
Let's see. The PS5. This is a weird thing. People have reported
really upset about this for some reason.
Yeah, that the PS5 Slim's optional optical drive apparently will need an internet connection in order to initially pair the drive to the system, and people seem really weirdly mad about it.
They seem really upset about it.
Not going to download like 100 gig patch or anything. It's probably just going to like update your account to verify that you have, or to register that you have like a disk drive installed.
Well, what cracks me up about people being upset about it, they're like, this digital console needs to be online at some point. It's
right.
Like, yes, you bought the digital console.
Right.
You knew full well that you needed the internet for it to begin with. So why is this where you draw the line?
Yeah, I don't understand why people are mad about that.
The only thing
one.
that makes sense to me is people are mad because there probably is a guy who's like going to be like, I want to buy that and the disc one, and I will never have to connect it. But that will never be the case.
Just buy the one with the disc already installed.
Then just buy the disc one.
Yeah.
I don't understand what the issue is here.
It actually costs more money to buy the two separately.
Yeah, exactly. It doesn't make any sense to me that you would be upset about this.
Yeah, I don't really entirely get it.
I don't know. It's the one time where I'm like, you guys, this doesn't make any sense to be mad about.
Speaking of Sony, Media Molecule laid off about 20 people. We got more layoffs this week. So
this is exactly what I was worried about.
Yep.
More people getting laid off.
I don't like that people got laid off. I do think that this is going to sound so mean, but like, I'm surprised that Media Molecule still has the staff they have, considering Dreams came out like on the PlayStation 4, and they haven't put anything out since then. And as near as I can tell, Little Big Planet 1 and 2 were not exactly like doing Call of Duty numbers. Like, they're a very boutique-y studio.
Did they make that Sock Boy Adventure game? Because that's the last thing that came out on PS5.
I don't think they did. I think that was made by a third-party company.
If it was, then what are they doing? This might be an instance of the Bob showing up going, what is it that you guys do here?
Let's see. Developed by Sumo Digital.
Oh, then then it is an instance of the Bobs showing up being like, what would you say you do here?
Right. So, yeah, I'm never happy that anybody lost their job.
No, I'm not. I'm not happy that they lost their job. But Dreams wasn't exactly the thing that people thought it was going. It didn't take off the way they thought it would.
Yes,
which is a shame because it turns out you can do a lot of weird shit with Dreams.
Absolutely,
and people did make some really cool stuff, but it didn't. None of it became viral, as far as I know.
There were a few like the PSX demake stuff that happened, but
people made like Sonic levels and shit.
Yeah,
but then the other stuff that became viral was Nintendo being like, stop making Mario models in Dreams.
So, yeah.
But that was the last thing I remember about it. I didn't really, people made some weird shit in that thing.
I guess what I'm saying is that sometimes I hear about these layoffs and I'm just like, man, if I worked at Media Molecule, I would have my resume, like a year ago, I would have been like, guys, have we put out a game in a year? Or how many years has it been?
Anything?
Have we put out a game in the last 8 years?
What is it that I do here?
Apparently they're working on something internally, but
either way, I would be like, at any moment, we're probably just we haven't done anything in a long time, guys. It's a miracle we've lasted this long.
There's also a few people got laid off from a PlayStation support studio called Visual Arts.
What do they do?
Is actually as near as I can tell, it looks like they either do like polish and or like cutscene work for a lot of like Sony first party stuff. So they worked on Last of Us stuff and Spider-Man 2 and things like that. But I'm also unclear about how many people got laid off. Like, I think this might have been a like sub 10.
I wouldn't be surprised if this was caused by the that Last of Us multiplayer getting paused.
I can see that. I can also see that they might have been working right up until the Spider-Man 2 release, doing polish, and then it was the thing that happens where the game comes out and they're just like, okay, bye.
We don't need this many people anymore, kind of thing.
Yeah. Needless to say, though,
they might have been contract for all we know.
All this layoff stuff is no good.
No, it's the fucking worst.
It's flooding the industry with people, which means that it's going to depress wages and make it harder for people to get jobs.
It's already hard to break into it. It's going to be harder for people to break back into it.
Yeah. It also is not a thing that is only happening in the video game sector. And as I said for the last 2 weeks, fucking be careful right now about buying a boat.
That's happening everywhere.
Emptying out your savings account for something that you don't really need, or I just want to buy a whole new wardrobe. It may not be the worst idea to have some savings if it's possible to do so.
Yep.
Speaking of this, it's interesting because these Cyberpunk 2077 devs, there was some information that came out from IGN where they talked about one of the reasons that they formed the union at CDPR is because Polish unions have a very specific clause where union leaders are allowed to look at internal what would they be called, planning docs. So if it's written down on a piece of paper that at a certain if their plan is to lay off 10% of the people at the end of the third quarter of next year, and that is in a memo, union people are allowed specifically to look at those memos and be like, hey, this is going to be happening. And that was one of the reasons apparently that they unionized, because the layoffs and the cuts that happened at CDPR were so out of nowhere that people who had relationships with other people, not intimate relationships, but you have a coworker, somebody you've trained for 5 years that you've worked beside every single day, and they're just well, I got fired, they're gone the next day.
You lose that talent at that point.
Well, and then people also had emotional reactions to their friends getting axed out of nowhere with no warning.
It's happened to me. It's one of the worst things that it's one of the worst experiences I could ever have could put on somebody.
Yeah.
Because I remember when it happened to me, literally everyone around me, and I do mean literally, picture 5 desks and then me directly in the middle.
Yeah.
And all 5 of the people around me were just fucking gone.
Right.
Just me, it was just me there, and I was like, what the fuck? I remember that day, and I was just like, I don't know if I want to talk to people right now. I didn't open up again to other coworkers for I think 4 months after that.
Yeah.
Because I was just I was so worried that I was I'll become really friendly with this guy, and then he'll just be fucking gone.
Yeah. So
it makes you really paranoid.
No, it's not great for morale.
No, it's terrible.
It's funny listening to.
I accidentally coined the term "the snap" in the office.
Oh.
And it turns out management caught wind of it, but they didn't know I did it. They just assumed somebody else did, and so they were very upset by that.
Yeah, Jason Schreier on Triple Click, he's a very big advocate after all of his reporting of just there was a game they were talking about. Oh God, I can't remember which one, where they were talking about how quickly the team was able to put together this really high quality product, and how that happens if you don't keep turning over your staff.
Yeah.
If you don't keep letting people go and then hiring new people, if you have a staff where staff, management, QA, testing, art all know each other and have worked together well and are all on the same page about what they want, it's a lot faster and easier, and at the end of the day, cheaper to put out a better selling video game if you quit fucking around with the entire apparatus of your company.
It's the one thing where people are like, well, why would you need to not work from home? That's the only time it's the only answer that I've ever heard that makes sense.
Yeah.
Is having a team that's constantly seeing each other.
Right.
And they can become very, tightly knit. Problem is most jobs don't need that. So that's one of the reasons why that's not always the issue. But game development a lot of that stuff
it's
helps
art,
out.
man. It
helps out with that. But but as long as they still talk to each other, that's really what it comes down to. And so, I don't know. It really comes down to the fact that there's too many companies losing too many people too fast, and they cause issues like what we're going to talk about right now.
Oh, yes. Yeah. This is an interesting one, I think, because the report came out that new Skull Island Rise of Kong game that everybody's been clowning on. I have some mixed feelings about this because, the game was made in like a year by like 25 people or something like that. And they spent most of, like, they were told by management, like, it's June. By June of next year, this game needs to be done. Like, and they did nothing. They were starting from scratch.
And they weren't really told anything as the year happened.
So they just kind of started throwing stuff together and they tried their best. I don't, this is a management problem.
100%.
This was done by the management, and like, this was put out by Game Mill, right?
Yeah, you're called Game Mill, so unfortunately,
there's that.
Yeah.
There's also, like, if you know that company, which I do, this is like, oh no, why isn't this Acclaim NES game any good, right? Or like,
pretty much. And this is a thing that used to happen all the time, by the way, guys. This isn't unheard of. This used to happen with every licensed game for a very long time. That's why if you find like old Marvel, Sega games, they look really garbagey because those were mostly made in a year.
Yeah. They're just made to the weird thing is just why did they choose to cash in on Kong now?
Well,
There's nothing out. Like,
that's what's weird about this one, because this one could have waited.
Yeah.
Because the I think it's based on an animation that they came out with.
Oh, okay.
And they didn't even meet the deadline for that.
Game Mill put out that Cobra Kai game.
They made that Cobra Kai
and that
game.
G.I. Joe game that was terrible. And all those Nickelodeon kart racers, all of them.
Yeah. All of these games are for the most part not very good. The only one on here that people consider good, and I'm using quotey fingers, is that All-Star Battle one. And we hated that game.
Oh yeah.
I like me and you straight up were like, this game fucking sucks.
Yep. But Michael, what about Disney's Frozen Olaf's Quest?
I thought you were going to say Zuzu Pets.
Zuzu Pets. I don't even think that came out in the United States.
I don't think it did.
Look at this and I'm like, I have no idea. This is a DS
it's a DS game.
It's a DS fucking game.
Yeah, it's like you could have waited at all. You could have been making this game for a while, and like it's not a game that. But every time you hear anything about it, you're like, man, the budget on this must have been minuscule.
Yep.
Because they were like firing people even throughout the year.
Yep.
It was ridiculous. I feel so bad for people who were actually like, I don't even know why Matt was excited for this, to be honest. But he was, and I feel bad for him for being as excited as he was for it.
Yeah, because of the way that the schedule worked out. Matt got to play Super Mario Wonder. I was going to force him to play the game that he demanded that we play on RageSelect.
You can still do it eventually, but I don't think you should.
Yeah.
Because at that point, I think that's cruel and unusual punishment.
Yeah, there's no reason to do that. There's plenty of good games out there. Anyway, yeah. So this is a management problem. This is a management problem. If they had spent more time, more money, more effort, they could have gotten a better game, but they were just trying to crank shit out. So, boom. EA's Motive Studio is taking a similar approach to Iron Man as what they did with Dead Space, which is interesting because they have a quote-unquote community council, which is basically like people that are kind of subject matter experts / fans of whatever the thing they're doing are, that are able to talk to the community and then act as like a buffer for community requests. So it's like you're not like putting out an open Reddit thread. We're just like, tell us what to do, I guess. You actually
I think Iron Man punches too many people. He needs to talk things out with people.
You have people that you can trust that kind of act as a liaison. And I'm like, oh, I think that's a very good idea.
That's a great idea. I think they announced the writer for it not that long ago too.
Yeah, possibly.
No, I think I saw them mention it, like, I want to say yesterday or today.
Could be.
Something like that.
Let's see. Look, if you're playing Counter-Strike 2, you might want to make sure that you're not trying to play with too high of a DPI on your mouse, because apparently if you move your mouse too fast in Counter-Strike 2, you might get banned. Now,
okay, then.
That's a hell of a headline, but I read through this, and the demonstrations online that show how fast you have to be moving your mouse in order for this to kick in, it is not something that you're inadvertently going to do.
Yeah.
This is built basically to keep people from... Well, okay. This is built to keep bots from auto-aiming for you.
Yeah, because they would turn super fast.
Yes. However... there is also, if you are a professional Counter-Strike player, you might have a very, very sensitive mouse to be able to turn like without moving as much, so you have a faster like reaction time. However, it's still going to be difficult, but not impossible. And this actually comes after there was another thing that happened not too long ago where AMD has some kind of anti-lag like motion sensitivity thing that was apparently also tripping up the Valve anti-cheat system.
Okay.
So yeah, but I thought it just makes for a good headline of like, don't move your mouse too fast, you're gonna get banned from Counter-Strike. And it's like, wait, what?
Yeah, no, that is a great headline, especially for something like that.
Let's see. This is I don't know if you've read this story.
I did not.
Nintendo, okay, these all had a better flow, but I've cut a bunch of stories. Nintendo put out basically a new set of guidelines for Smash community tournaments. And they are somewhat draconian. You can't have more than 200 people. You must get like express written consent from Nintendo. Your prize pool can't be more than, I think they said, like $5,000.
Jesus.
You can't have any official. What was the ones? You can't have any official like food or drink.
I think it says. I know it says you're forbidden from using like certain modded versions too.
Oh yeah, that 100%. That, but there's also something about. Let's see.
Oh, there it is.
You can't sell food, beverages, or merchandise, et cetera, et cetera. And this has stirred up the Smash community. I spent a long time thinking about this, Michael, because of that. You remember we had the story about that panda place and then we were like razzling the dude and whatever. And the Smash community is like, we're mad as hell about these new restrictions. And I thought about it for a while today, and my response to that whole thing is, at what point did you think Nintendo was a chill, fun-loving company that doesn't like get big boners for the rules and making you follow the rules and you will have fun according to the rules? Because that's been Nintendo this whole time. Like, there weren't rules for Smash, but just because there weren't rules didn't mean that Nintendo didn't want there to be rules. And now there are rules. Well, probably specifically because of that story that we talked about.
Yeah, I think in this instance it's not because of Nintendo being. It's not because of Nintendo's history. It's because of every other fighting game in the world's like relationship with fighting game tournaments.
Sure,
Nintendo's the only one who has some type of fighting game. Where they will do that. Like if you talk to like anybody with NetherRealm or like WB and stuff when it comes to Mortal Kombat are like, do what you want, like just don't make it illegal, like is really what it comes down. Like most fighting game tournaments are mostly just like, just don't do something like that would be highly illegal that anybody would get sued for, kind of thing. Where Nintendo's just like, I'm gonna play Smash Brothers at my house and then a guy's gonna pop up in a suit and beat you up and be like cease and desist and then run off. Like, it's weird. Like, Nintendo is, like, fucking insane when it comes to their shit.
Yeah. I mean, like, Nintendo also Nintendo also is the only company that would claim the earnings from Let's Players for their Let's Plays of Nintendo games. Nintendo has no fucking chill, man.
They don't.
Nintendo is like a hall monitor, and like they.
That's why they have the best like joke articles about them. That one where it's like the heartwarming story about a kid who made a Super Mario Brother game with like pen and paper, gets the heartwarming cease and desist letter from Nintendo. It's like, yes, so, all of these are true. All of these things would totally happen in real life.
Also, I don't know that I can
just ask Bowser, the guy who got super sued.
One of the person, Juan Hungry Box Debidma, basically said, I'm just going to keep running my tournaments until I get a written cease and desist from Nintendo. I'm calling your bluff. And it's like, you're going to get it.
You're going to get it like tomorrow.
Cease and desist from Nintendo. Nintendo isn't fucking around. They've got a bunch of lawyers that are there. They made it their life's goal to shut down sites that had ROMs of NES games they haven't sold for 40 fucking years on them.
Yeah, a fan will be like, I made this fan game, but just the one level.
Yeah.
I think it's kind of neat. And then they get gunned down the second somebody reports about it.
Yeah.
It's insane. Like how fucking, like the second it comes out, they're on top of it.
Yeah.
The second you finish that sentence, a lawyer's alarm went off at Nintendo, and they're writing that cease and desist as we speak.
Yeah. So I think that the Smash community needs to like the suggestion that I'm making to the Smash community is Nintendo doesn't care about whether you're having fun.
No.
In fact, Nintendo would probably be fine if you just boycotted the whole thing. In fact, Nintendo doesn't even run their own Smash tournaments. They have hired a third-party company. They would probably be more than happy to fire that third-party company, say no Smash tournaments are allowed anywhere, the end. When Sony bought Evo, Nintendo took Smash out of Evo.
Yeah.
Like, they are petty, they're vindictive, they're litigious, they are not here to have fun. They're here to make fucking money, and they do not give a shit whether you're like, well, what if we had fun and made money? And they're like, I don't care. If you break the rules and have fun and make money, nobody gets to do it anymore. I'll burn this whole place to the fucking ground. I'll send every lawyer in the world to your house.
It's insane.
The only time I've ever seen anybody worse than this was that time where Ubisoft sent guys to somebody's house, like to the private residence.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah, that's the only thing that was worse than it. And they were the private eye guys, weren't they?
Yeah. Were they the Pinkertons or
the
something?
Pinkertons, yeah, they sent the Pinkertons after them.
Union busting fucking private cops with the horrible.
I swear they sent. I think Gearbox did the same to some guy for Borderlands as well.
I don't know.
I think two different companies did that to somebody.
I think so.
But the other guy was like kind of challenging them too.
Yeah. Let's see. Quick like a bunny. You know that Capcom leak that happened because the hacker group?
Yeah.
The hacker group is apparently gone.
Oh.
They were arrested on October 20th. There was a ransom group called Ragnar Locker that was both the name of the group and the name of the malware that they used to collect stuff. What I find interesting about this was 11 different countries' law enforcement came together to
goddamn
worldwide sting these motherfuckers to get them off. Because the thing is that they did that huge Capcom leak, but that's not all. They've been fucking around with a lot of people.
Yeah, it's just the only reason we know about it is the Capcom thing.
Yes,
but, if 11 different countries are after you, it's not because they're mad about Resident Evil leaks.
Yes. Also, I mean, part of that Capcom leak was the confidential data of 390,000 people. So, anyway, they took them down. Who knows what they'll say down. And let's see, Fallout show has a release date of April 12th of next year, the Amazon Fallout show.
Well, we'll see how that plays out with the strikes.
Probably should have put that at the end of the thing as opposed to at the beginning. Trailers. We got some quick trailers. There was, like I said, there was a big indie game horror thing that happened. So we got a bunch of horror trailers.
Yeah, I saw this trailer.
Spooky time.
Really cool.
Yeah, I've been. We played World of Horror. The video for it is coming out today with John. It's a very strange game because it's like a roguelike and RPG, and like a turn-based thing. And they put out a really cool, like, kind of 1-bit trailer that shows a bunch of the stuff from the game. This game's been in early access for like 2 years. Chris and I played it when it originally came out.
Oh, yeah. I thought this sounded familiar.
And it finally went into 1.0 like last week. Like, this is the launch trailer for it. And it's cool. Looks like Junji Ito and a bunch of J-horror stuff. And
there's something comedic about the way it cuts to that. Because she's got like that Family Guy falling down pose. Almost.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. It's kind of crazy. I finished a run of it last night. I'd never actually done that before, but I finished a single run. Because it's one of the things where it's randomized and you just play it over and over again and do different stuff to it. This is all, it doesn't have any animation looks anything like this. Like, these are all characters from the game, but they're
just
all
like scenarios, basically.
Very well animated. But yeah, one of the big things is that no matter where you play, there's like some kind of evil god that every time you do a move, it ups the like kind of the apocalypse meter. And if it gets to 100 before you beat the game, then like it's game over. So
that's fun.
Yeah. Let's see. We got the release date trailer for Sucker to Love, Date to Die For, which is the expansion or the sequel to Sucker for Love.
Oh, okay.
Where you're instead of Cthulhu, you're going out with some kind of like horny goat person. And it seems to have a little bit of a different tone to it. Like, it's a little bit more horror, if I could tell. Like, Sucker for Love seemed like it was definitely more of a comedy game.
100%, yeah. That's usually how these games tend to get designed.
Yeah. This one seems like it's a little bit less comedy and a little bit more, like, spooky. But I don't know. Or maybe just horny.
Might be both, yeah.
Yeah. Valentine's Day 2024, Sucker for Love, Date to Die For. So
good for them.
the Cult of the Lamb shows up in the darndest of places, Michael, and the latest one is a crossover with Monster Prom 3 Monster Road Trip. Apparently now the Lamb from Cult of the Lamb can be one of the people that you pick up on the side of the road during your road trip.
Oh, that's fun.
I can do little like quests for them. This is a free update. It's already in the game. I like the fact that because the lamb is so short that whenever you see it, it's standing on a bunch of hands that are like holding it up from the bottom of the screen.
I love weird shit like that.
Cult of the Lamb just like I feel like they've just got like a hotline that you just call and you're like, can I put Cult of the Lamb? Yes. Whatever it is, yes. What do you want it in? Shoes, game, breakfast? I don't care. Whatever.
Good for them.
Yep. These are some of the more. So we got the announcement for Amanda the Adventurer 2, which just has the lamb from Amanda the Adventurer very announcing a new game. I don't know if you're familiar with the original.
I'm not, but there's a chicken holding that sheep at gunpoint to make this announcement.
Yes. The original Amanda the Adventurer was like a kind of a late 90s, early 2000 like learning game, but then like the character at the center, Amanda, was like nefarious and kind of horrible.
Okay. It's
and
one
stuff.
of those things. Okay.
So
that's fun though. I love weird shit like that because that seems to be more and more happening with games lately.
Yeah,
and I have no issue with it.
Yeah, I like this kind of nostalgia because there's something kind of weirdly creepy about this old primitive CG look and animation. So yeah, looking forward to that. No real release date yet, etc., etc. We got a trailer for a game called Home Safety Hotline. It's unfortunately Michael hasn't seen all of these.
No.
This one is like you're doing running some kind of like hotline service, and so it's a real like indie lo-fi thing where people are like calling you on like a 90s BBS / internet browser like modem kind of thing. But then it's got a lot of like weird. Like the trailer starts off with a lot of like, oh, my sink is broken, and then like gets more and more kind of crazy.
It's weird imagery.
Yeah, I like a lot of the kind of lo-fi stuff. That's always a great way. Like if you can't afford really high quality assets, you can always just throw a VHS filter over it and put some Photoshop grain on, and there you go. Ooh.
That's the fun thing about spooky things is that like for some reason the weird VHS filter stuff still always works.
Yep.
I don't know why it just really works for me.
Pretty much. This is actually though coming out in November. Just November 6th of this year. So
like not this week, but I think the week after that.
Yep. Same week as RoboCop, right?
Well, RoboCop's Friday. Not tomorrow Friday, but the Friday of when this comes out. Well, no, the Thursday actually, the 2nd.
Oh, right. So this will be Monday, the Monday after that. We got the announcement for mouthwashing, which is, I don't know how much people know this, Michael. Okay, there's a game, like the beginning of this probably doesn't mean anything for people.
No, it does not.
Okay, so there's this game called How Fish is Made that is kind of an indie thing that's gone around. There was a guy who made an interesting video about it. You play as a fish that is flipping, like out of water, flopping your way through this weird series of pipes and tubes. You meet all these other fish. They constantly ask you, do you want to go up or do you want to go down? But nobody ever talks about what that means.
Yeah.
They just talk about like whether they're in favor of up or down, and they talk to you. There's a really weird musical number at the beginning. It's a very strange game. It's an indie art piece. It's a thing that people know about. The guy that made this announced his next game, which is called Mouthwashing, which is very strange. It starts off with like a guy wrapped up in bandages, kind of like looks like Darkman, all fucked up.
Yeah,
and this guy kind of taunting him. But then it shows like it kind of bleeds to like this first person thing where you're in these corridors and there's this like horse toy that keeps getting more and more arms. It's very weird. It's very cool. This is what I was talking about when I'm like, oh, we can't afford to spend time or money to make our games. Like, here's one guy, right?
Yeah.
Making this crazy shit. And it's like, this looks so compelling. I want to find out what's going on here.
That's fucking weird.
So, no release date, but like, it's a thing. I think he just got done putting How Fish Are Made was an itch.io game that then just got listed on Steam.
Oh, okay.
And it's free. You can play it on Steam. So
that's neat.
Yep. There's going to be a Creepshow game.
Interesting.
This was announced. It has a little thing where they show this kind of guy narrating kind of some spooky stuff about Creepshow, and then like I like it when they show his face. They do the thing like from the movie where they put the weird Creepshow lightning broken glass background behind him with the super bright lighting on him. Yeah, not much more information than that, just a kind of a spooky teaser, but what a great idea for a game. I totally would play a Creepshow game.
As long as it, plays out well, I think, which would be great.
And it's also being I think produced by Shudder and then Dread XP, which I really like. Dread XP made like My Friendly Neighborhood and Mortuary Assistant and things like that. So
that could be good. That could be really good.
I love this spooky controller, the bat.
Yeah.
Speaking of Dread XP, My Friendly Neighborhood got an update, which is a horde mode. It's called My Friendly Neighbor Horde. It was not what I would have expected.
No, but it's a great idea
from these guys of just mowing down puppet after puppet in horde mode.
That's so fucking funny.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I still need to go back and maybe just try to finish the actual game. But
it's such a crazy idea for a game, but it's really cool.
Yeah, Five Nights Sesame Street. It's great.
Apparently, it's got multiple endings too.
Oh, there you go. Let's see. There's a game called Station to Station that is like a nice voxel-based train game where it's just a delightfully charming thing. The Halloween update has apparently put Choo Choo Charles into here.
Fuck.
What's so funny is if you go to the Steam page for Station to Station, it's just like all this very calming music about just like, now you can make your own beautiful world full of train. You set up a train station at like the world is kind of desaturated and it brings color back to the world. In this trailer, here comes fucking Choo Choo Charles.
It's fucking massive too.
Yeah, it's funny. It's like, oh, that's a name I've not heard in a long time.
Jesus Christ.
I don't even know if he does anything. Like I actually don't see him.
He looks like he just walks around.
Yeah, like he just jumps around.
Maybe he can slam into other trains. I guess I don't know. What a strange thing to do.
Choo Choo Charles, Station to Station. The normal fishing game. A normal fishing game got an announcement trailer. This is a very weird, like kind of lo-fi.
Looks like a Game Boy Advance game.
Yeah.
Not even a Game Boy Advance game. Game Boy
GBA
Color
game. Yeah. It's got definitely got black and white with like a filter over it. As the trailer goes on, you see a lot more kind of like weirder and weirder stuff. Like it kind of looks like it starts as just like a regular fishing game and then like starts turning more and more bizarre with stranger and stranger. There's like tentacles and something's in the water type of thing. A lot of VHS effects. Get the VHS effects in there.
I love when stuff has named like just like a normal thing, and then it's just the weirdest thing. That's how regular show was when it started.
Right.
Like with all the trailers for it, it's like it's just a regular show. Like nothing weird's gonna happen in it. It's just like one of those batshit insane cartoons I've ever watched in my life.
Yeah. That's coming Q4 of 2024.
Okay. It's a good while from now.
This is really okay. I have these a little bit over. We got a release date for Evil Nun, The Broken Mask, which is one of these like you're getting chased around by a monster thing, but it's an evil nun. I don't know why nuns are scary. Like there's the Nun 2 is out on VOD right now.
I'm not really I don't know. The nuns have always just been weird. I don't know.
Why?
Like some people have very like visceral reactions to them.
Okay.
Because a lot of times people see nuns as kind of cold. So you never really know what they're up to.
I never got beaten by a nun when I was a kid. So.
I never was either, but I always think of the Blues Brothers when they keep calling her the Penguin and she just keeps beating the shit out of them.
Right. Yeah, this came out a little while back and it's got good reviews. It's coming out, I think is it in November, I think? Let's see.
It's probably in the description.
Yeah. Release date trailer 7th of December. So
it's a good while from now. It's always funny when like horror games don't come out in October, but this year it makes sense.
It's a lot. There's a lot out right now.
Yeah, if all the games we just talked about came out in October, that shit would be ridiculous.
Yep. This is an interesting game. There's a trailer. This is a live action trailer called The Third Shift. That's about working on overnight at like a museum, like a natural history museum. And they've got this kind of really goofy trailer. But what the game actually is that this kind of Game Boy looking game where it's like very evocative of like
It's got, like, the
old
fake
Game Boy games.
It's got the fake Game Boy screen and
yeah.
Because that's how the OG one looked like.
But I was about to cut this one, but I really kind of like the way that some of these monsters look, like in this, and some of the kind of creepy stuff that's happening, like stuff in the
People have gone a
foreground.
long way with animation when it comes to like this type of thing.
The pixel art
Yeah,
stuff.
like have you ever seen those like fucked up Garfield ones that people have made? Like with this exact type of look? It's crazy how detailed they can get now.
Yep. There's a lot of tools out there for that,
Yeah,
right?
it's fucking amazing.
Which again, to me, is like, no, we have to create the most realistic visuals you've ever seen in the world. I'm like, I want to play this weird Game Boy game.
Yeah, that freaks me the fuck out.
I want to play normal fishing. Like, so, all right. Speaking of live action, we got a live action trailer for Dave the Diver.
That's interesting.
Because it came out on the Switch.
Oh, okay.
It's pretty great. It's this office worker lady, and she's getting all fed up with the world, and then like she goes under her desk and she's playing Dave the Diver on the Switch. She's got like the little goggles on her hat.
Oh, that's fun.
And then it goes, and she's like at a dinner with her boss, and she goes under the table and she's playing Dave the Diver. And then like she's at the laundromat, and now she's got like the full wetsuit on.
Yeah, I was about to say she's like slowly getting more diverish.
Yes, every time they cut, she comes more Dave the Diver, and then at the very end, when they cut back to her, it's just amazing, Michael. She's like on a dock, and she's getting ready to go in the water, and she's got a beard glued onto her face, and she looks like Dave the Diver. She looks like a crazy person. Like
I kind of love that though. That's the extreme that she should go.
Yep, I love
also,
it.
I think she's like fattened up her suit too.
Oh, has she?
Yeah, like pause it just before she jumps out.
Just before she jumps. Let's see. Maybe
It looks like she's a little chunkier in like this.
I wonder if it's just like a belt, but
Yeah.
maybe not. Anyway, yeah, it's great. Also, Dave the Diver rules. You should totally go get it right now.
Yeah, it's one of those indie darlings that I think everybody should look into.
Yep. Let's see. Very briefly, we got. You know what? I'm going to talk about that later. Some of these I'm just going to gloss over. There's that Tintin game that Microids is making got a trailer where they showed like some actual gameplay, and it looks very cheap.
It just reminds me of those like cheaper adventure games. Like
Yeah.
point and clicky.
The main thing seems to be just that like it seems like a bunch of kind of mediocre mini games, but they do seem to have gotten the art style of Tintin down pretty well.
Yeah, which is one of the more important things about Tintin stuff.
Yeah. Here's a weird one, Michael. They put out a 26-minute look at Squadron 42. The
Oh God, that's a name I haven't heard in a very long time.
Star Citizen thing.
Yeah.
And there's a lot going on in here. Like, it actually kind of looks like a video game. Except the thing is that this is a 26-minute video, and this game runs like balls.
Yeah, I was about to say, like, they're showing off, like, look how proud of we are. This very, very slow frame rate that you're seeing.
Yeah. What's kind of cool though is, I mean, they show like space. They show like driving like a boat. They have a whole series where they talk about like they've got like a gravity tool to do puzzles with.
Because they got some
like
big ass names for this game.
Oh yeah, no. Later on, they show. Well, it starts with a cutscene where they show the different some of the different character models that kind of flip between different character models. Like doing like a log to your mom, and then eventually fucking Gillian Anderson pops up to give a speech about duty and honor and stuff. Later on, Gary Oldman's in here, John Rhys Davies is in here.
Jesus, I forgot how many people they got.
Mark Hamill is in here.
Well, Henry Cavill's supposed to be in it too, isn't he?
I didn't see
correctly.
him. They show some
He was
of
in the first trailer, I think, if I remember correctly.
first-person shooter sections, which look really mediocre and dated, almost like playing, I don't know, kind of a bad Crisis ripoff.
It looks okay. At
It's
most.
fine.
It's fine-ish. This is just this reminds me of what will happen. Like if it comes out, it'll be just like Duke Nukem Forever was.
Yeah,
where it's like this stuff probably was cutting edge when you started on it.
There's Gary Oldman,
but now you're getting to a point where it's not really like all that interesting anymore.
Yeah.
Oh, there's fucking Mark Strong.
Oh yeah, Mark Strong. There he is.
I think that's Mark Strong. Here, there's
Mark Hamill. Yep. They. I mean, the thing is that it looks like they're supposedly doing polish. They're supposed to be done, and they're doing polish on Squadron 42.
Here's the thing: if this game turns out like the single player stuff turns out to be great, more power to them. Really. Oh, Jesus Christ!
That fucking guy, the guy from Game of Thrones.
Yeah, Jesus.
That one guy.
They spent a lot of money on actors. Oh my god.
Another guy. Yeah, you didn't.
This is the most celebrities I've seen in a game in a long time.
This is the most celebrities I've seen in a game since Wing Commander 4.
Yeah, I was about to say, like, most of them only get like one or two. They fucking hired like an entire fucking movie's worth of people.
They showed a lot of the character. They showed a lot of kind of like the inside of the ship, a lot of the details where there's like a whole flight bay and like a medic bay and stuff. Yeah, you know what? If this ends up being what the game is, and it could be good, but I've been burned before, so if it turns out to surprise me and be good, all the better. But I'm not getting my hopes up.
That's the thing, yeah. I'm actually, I wouldn't be mad if this turned out to be good, because I really like the idea of like this many actors in a game.
Yep.
And if the story turns out to be good, then that would be great.
I've been jonesing for a game for a long time where I can like get in a ship and then get out of the ship and walk around and do other stuff and then get back in the ship and then get out, and then
it'll be nice to see years and years worth of like ideas and development put into something.
Yeah,
because this isn't like technically full on Star Citizen. This is just their single player thing,
right?
And if that turns out to be good, that would be cool if they just kept making those instead.
Absolutely correct. Okay, let's see here. Amnesia: The Bunker is getting an even harder mode for Halloween.
That's interesting.
Like they've updated it to make it even harder. There is no safe zone. You guys can go look up all the details, but there is no safe zone anymore. You don't even get to start with the pistol. You've got to find it. You got to spend gasoline to save your game.
Oh, what the fuck?
Everything, there's like a new fuse box mechanics where you can't even turn on the lights in an area until you find the fuses to turn on that circuit. Like, just making the game like way harder. And the monster is way more aggressive and will follow you for way longer. I kind of like the fact that every time somebody gets really good at Amnesia, they're like, well, here's a new mode. We're even more fucked up. Like,
let's see you stream this, you motherfucker.
Yep. So, and that's a free update.
No, that's cool. That's cool that it's free. Yeah.
Yeah.
It would have sucked if it was a paid thing.
Oh yeah, bandages don't give you health back anymore. They just stop you from bleeding to death.
Oh god.
There's also combination locks on stuff now that have like a code. There's a part in the game where you find a fuel depot, and it's like a big deal because it means you have a lot of fuel. Now the fuel depot is always locked with a randomized code that you have to find the numbers for in different areas.
You can't just look it up.
You can't just run right there and get the thing in order to like jump the curve, basically.
That's amazing.
So
it's fucked, but it's amazing.
Yeah. Also, there's like a shooting gallery. Layers of Fear has a new thing called the Final Prologue, which is like an epilogue, strangely enough.
Okay.
Which the new Layers of Fear now has like basically one more free mission as a thank you to fans and to celebrate both Halloween and the anniversary of the first game.
Oh, fun.
So yeah, free thing with the kind of based on the actor stuff.
Oh, okay.
Which apparently I didn't realize this. So like the new Layers of Fear, the way that it works is that like it took all of the other Layers of Fear stories and expansions and put them into one game where it's a character writing them as stories.
Oh, that's fun.
So yeah. Yeah, and that's all of our trailers. We got a few things left. We talked about Ark actually getting released. It's on early access right now. Second Extinction is gone. That was this multiplayer shooting dinosaurs game.
Yeah, I was about to say.
Went into early access 2 years ago. They worked on it. They apparently didn't make enough money in early access, and they realized that it was outside of the scope of what their small team could do. And so they basically just said, we're not doing anything else, and next year sometime we'll shut down the servers.
I want to say that's a shame, but like they said, they never got out of early access, so
yeah,
it's just a shame the idea just didn't get off the ground like they thought it would.
Yes, I think that not having a roadmap all the way worked out is a little irresponsible, but by the same
super
token,
irresponsible.
I consider anything that's in early access to be buy at your own risk.
Yeah, no, 100%. That's kind of the point of at least it used to be the point of early access.
Right.
The problem is nowadays people keep using it as like it's already out technically, but
yeah,
keep giving us money.
Yep.
Star Citizen.
Let's see. Did I just open these twice? Yep. Okay. We got a release date for the Dark Forces remaster.
Oh, cool.
That's coming out. Night Dive is doing that, so it's probably not going to be garbage, Konami. That's February 28th.
Nice.
So that'll be 4K, modernized textures.
You
all
can
kinds
feel
of
the sass of Darth Vader in that screenshot.
high frame rates and stuff. Yep. It's going to be good. It's going to be good. And then I think that's mostly what got left is fun stuff. Spider-Man's supposed to be getting a new game plus before the end of the year. Yeah.
You guys can't hear me rubbing my hands.
Michael's rubbing his hands together. Good.
Because I posted that I'm thinking about when the new game plus comes out.
Yep.
That I'm just going to play all 3 new game pluses one after the other.
Okay.
Because the games are much shorter new game plus.
Yeah.
And so you could just like plow through all of them like in a couple days.
Oh, also replay missions will be in that.
That would be good for a lot of people.
Yeah.
I would probably use it the way I used the new game plus in the first one where I made all those like covers because I didn't find this out until after I beat the game.
Yeah.
Is that the camera mode has a poses option where you can change like his poses into different things. So man, that would have been really useful for some of the stuff I was trying to do.
Yeah. Let's see. In other Spider-Man news, the Insomniac devs have said that they may be interested in doing a Venom spinoff for
I don't see how
Spider-Man.
in this one, but unless they bring in Eddie Brock.
I mean, come on.
Because they mentioned
these comic books, you just make shit up.
Well, there's a point where Mary Jane mentions they hired a new guy at the Daily Bugle. They could always pivot into that.
Yep.
Make him Eddie.
Yep.
Because they never say who it is.
Yeah. Spider-Man fans and Michael, who is like the king of Spider-Man fans, don't come at me. I don't want them to make more Spider-Man. I want them to go make something else because I love Insomniac. They're like one of my favorite studios. I love Ratchet and Clank. Like,
no, I was gonna say
I don't want them to get locked into like Spider-Man, the Spider-Man Marvel studio.
Yeah, here's the thing. I don't want a Venom spinoff.
Yeah,
like legitimately, not because I don't like the idea of them being able to make a game like that. It's because like then we're gonna get all the insufferable weird Venom guys, and they're gonna be like really annoying about it. And then also, like you said, Insomniac should be able to make other things. Insomniac invented Spyro the Dragon, for Christ's sakes. They should be allowed to make other things.
I don't want them to go down the Naughty Dog path of getting like fucking glued into one franchise. Like, I know they're making Wolverine, but
Naughty Dog did that to themselves, kind of thing.
True. But yeah, I like at some point, I mean, I don't think it's a spoiler to say there is a very clear path for a third game. And at some point, I think I would like to see them make that third game.
Yeah, they will. They will make that third game. I'm sure they will. But like, I would rather them go straight into that third game and not like pivot into something like not do another Miles Morales 2 kind of thing.
Right.
Like I'd rather them not have to do another spin-off.
Make Wolverine. Make another game. I don't care what it is, just something else.
Another Ratchet and Clank or something.
Then do well. That's the other thing is that like I would love it if they did another Ratchet and Clank, but I also don't want them to have to make Ratchet. I would like them to make Resistance 4 if that's what they want to do.
That would be cool.
Like,
I actually wouldn't mind that because Resistance was one of those things that when it came out, I was like, this is a fun idea, like a World War II aliens thing.
Yep.
And then they finished 3, and that was the end of it. They never did anything else after that.
Yeah, well, the story kind of wrapped up.
Yeah, you can always reboot it.
Yep, sure. But yeah, don't make Venom unless it's shitty Venom. I will take a shitty Venom game. You get Tom Hardy. Tom Hardy needs money. You hire Tom Hardy. You give him money. You make the shitty Venom game. That's the I've always dreamed. I had to explain to Jason on the lost recording. Well, on the lost recording that we lost for Spider-Man. I'm hoping to get it together and try to get it on Patreon. But like, he was like, "Oh, I've never seen any of those Venom movies. Are they any good?" And I was like, "No," and I love them. They're my favorite, and they're so bad. And I explained to him the part in Venom 2 where Venom goes to that rave and is like, "Oh, my people, we're all weird freakos here."
His coming out party or whatever he's doing.
And I'm like, it's so bad.
It's
and I
really
love
bad.
it. I love it.
But god damn, you love that thing.
Love it. I love it. I don't get enough bad movies. Yes. Speaking of weird spinoffs, hey Michael, there's a Frasier
I've heard
JRPG.
about this. Yeah, I actually heard about this.
Somebody made a game and they put it on itch.io and it's called Final Frasier, and it's like a Final Fantasy Frasier RPG where you play as Frasier and like interact with a bunch of stuff from the Frasier show. It's kind of a Game Boy Color style game. So
Yeah, I didn't know what else it was outside of the name of it.
Yeah.
But knowing now what it is, I kind of am tempted to play it.
Yep. Hey, I mean, you can play it on your phone. You can play it in
Frasier Fantasy. I love that stupid shit.
It's pretty great. It's pretty great. See, Frasier isn't suing people. Nintendo.
Between this and that that fucking thing you showed me
Yeah.
for High on Knife or whatever.
Oh, right. Yes. Yep.
We didn't even ask. We just put him in here.
Yep. Let's see. All right. How about some other weird stuff? There is a bunch of Elden Ring swag out there, like clothing.
The fuck?
But unfortunately, it's that thing that happens where they let like some high-end clothes brand do it. Because here's the thing, Michael. I actually love a lot of this stuff.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Like the thing is that I think that a lot of it looks really good, and I think it's really interesting what they've done. So there's like this sweater is like the texture that's on the fog wall for you to go into the gate. Unfortunately, like the prices, Michael, the prices.
We'll just click on a size. I think it should show it, right?
Let's see here. $330 for that sweatshirt. Yes.
Holy shit.
Yes. I love this bomber jacket that is it's the map.
Yeah.
Like printed on a bomber jacket. And that one goes for add to bag. Let's see. I need to just hit the open bag button. That one is a $1,090.
Oh, I finally found the price on this thing. It's on the left side.
Over here?
It's like in
there
small
it is.
print.
Yes, there it is.
That's why we couldn't see it, because it was so tiny.
Yeah, $1,090.
How much is that T-shirt? I'm curious as the T-shirt's price.
Wait.
No, the to the right of her.
This one?
Because that's like the most normal looking thing on here.
Oh, it has it here. $146 for a T-shirt.
Fuck you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
I actually really like some of these because they're not immediately like, it's not like the words Elden Ring on a shirt,
well,
right?
they're cool, but like, why are they that expensive?
Because it's some boutique fucking, it's Arc 8, AW23, delving into the lands between, like fucking, like it's just, it's some bullshit company. Like, wasn't there another thing we had where there was like shirts from something else, like some horror shirts? I think Amanda might have been on when we were talking about that. Something where there was like specific shirts, but they were made by some kind of like indie outfit, and then they were like $400 or something.
Silent Hill ones, or
yes,
yeah,
and they
we
looked
talked
like
about
ass.
that. Yeah,
but they were $250 a piece.
Literally designed to be terrible, basically.
Yes. So yeah, like
at least the Dante jacket that was stupid expensive was just Dante's jacket,
right? Or Chris's jacket from RE8. Anyway, fucking, I wish I could buy some of these because I said I think they look kind of cool, but like
I like the idea of them, like you said.
Yeah.
Like maybe somebody will make a generic one or something. I don't know.
Yeah,
that would be a good idea.
Well, speaking of stuff that's also too expensive, you see this Dune Lego set?
I have.
It's pretty
Of
cool.
that one fucking character.
So they made a little ornithopter, like a master build ornithopter from part 1 of Dune. But then the thing comes with a bunch of little minifigs of Paul and Jessica and the Duke and stuff like that. But then also the Baron Harkonnen, which in the Dune Part 1 had this incredibly long thing, so it's just this incredibly tall
like a little Lego figure, and I think that's kind of amazing.
Yeah, but
I thought it was fake at first. I thought, or not fake. I thought somebody was a fan made Lego piece.
Yes,
but then I found out it was a real thing. But it's really expensive.
It's really cool, but Legos are really expensive. It's $165. Like, that's a lot.
That used to be the old Millennium Falcon price for a long time. I think it still is, actually.
So, and it doesn't exactly do a shitload either.
No, because the most expensive one that I've considered buying is the Daily Bugle one. That one was like $300.
Yeah.
But it comes with but it's really tall. and it comes with a shit ton of fucking minifigs, like a lot of them.
Yeah.
But the reason I've never bought it is because it's really tall,
Right.
and I have nowhere to put something like that.
Yeah. I don't know.
But you can buy like lights and stuff for it too, which
I
is
wish
cool.
there were. I wish there were more like. I wish that Legos weren't so expensive.
Yeah, I wish they used to make like. I wish they went back to like making the small sets that they used to do all the time.
Whereas this one is.
They don't really make them anymore.
Is a camera, $100. That's not too bad.
It comes with a little Walt Disney figure.
Yeah, little Mickey's.
That's fun.
Mickey, Minnie, and Bambi and Dumbo.
It should come with a container to put his frozen head there.
Whoa! He goes inside of the camera.
Okay, that's actually kind of neat.
That's pretty cool. Anyway, sorry.
But they should make a container for his frozen head.
What are those? Oh, I thought those were Ninjagos, but they're dreams.
Well, that's interesting.
Okay. Anyway, finally, hey, if you got money, you want to buy stuff. Here's something cool that you could buy. Did you see these Scott Pilgrim box sets that they're putting out?
I did not.
Yeah, 20th anniversary. 20th anniversary box set of all of Scott Pilgrim stuff.
The hardcovers.
Yep.
How much is that?
$250.
Oh no, I'm good. You can buy all the colors in these like kind of okay paperbacks for I think like 100 or something.
Like all of them?
Yeah, because they've been making them a lot easier to buy, kind of thing.
I don't know. I
At
mean,
least the last time I checked on Amazon, they were pretty cheap.
Thing is that I'm more of a sucker for this kind of thing where it's like hardback copies of something you really like that you can have for a long time,
Well,
right?
the ones
like,
I have aren't hardcovers. The thing,
Yeah.
the ones I have are because I actually did buy the one I'm thinking of. But they're the color ones that I got. I don't know if these are the color ones or not as well. Actually, no, they are. They mentioned it.
There's two boxes.
There's two versions of it.
This is the black and white one, and then this is the color one.
I have such fond memories of Scott Pilgrim that I'm just happy to own any of them.
Yeah. I don't know. Like, this is one that would tempt me if I was more of a fan of Scott Pilgrim. I'm not as big a fan of Scott Pilgrim because I read it when I was in like my 30s, and I was like, this kid's a shit, man.
Well, that's kind of the point of Scott that a lot of people don't get when they're younger.
Yeah.
Because they're like, isn't he? I wish I was Scott Pilgrim. Like, no, you don't. You should not want to be Scott Pilgrim.
I 100% realized that if I had read Scott Pilgrim when I was in my teens or even early 20s, I would have been completely in love with it. I was just a little too aged out of it. Like, somebody got really mad at me for when you and I were, or somebody in the comments message, or they talked about when we were talking about like the Harry and Peter break into the high school. Like, why don't you get Aunt May? Why don't you fucking call the police? Why don't you do fucking anything else? And it's like, because they're stupid teenagers. And I'm like, well, I hate stupid teenagers. I don't want to give them the benefit of the doubt. I'm like, be smarter, idiots. Like, you suck. You're bad at this.
Yeah, Scott Pilgrim is such an important place for me for a number of reasons, not just because of the books, but because I have a lot of memories with old friends that involved both the books and the show.
Yeah.
The books one is really funny. Some of the memories I have. It's both funny and depressing at the same time. Because one of my old high school friends, this was years and years ago. This was when the very first color hardcover came out. He was in a real nasty accident, and so as a present, we went. Brian Lee O'Malley was doing a signing of them at the Awesome Books and Comics for them, and we went to go get it signed. We actually ran into Matt when we were there.
Yeah,
and this was before I was like that much closer with Matt, kind of thing. And so I was like, I knew Matt in passing at the time, and so I was there with all my high school friends. And when we got our signatures from Brian, he wouldn't like look up because he was clearly nervous as fuck being surrounded by this many people, and he signed the wrong name on one of the books.
Oh,
and because we saw it, he's like, and we're like, who's Maria? It was really funny, but yeah, we gave our friend that first hardcover signed by him, and he drew a little Scott inside of it, and so that's one of the memories I have. But the one that I always talk about the most is the movie memory.
Oh yeah,
where when the movie came out, and I met like most of the cast.
Yeah,
but yeah, I have such a huge soft spot for Scott Pilgrim, all because of all the memories I've had for that character.
Can't wait to see the show on Netflix.
Yeah, I'm very excited for that.
Yep. And with that, we're gonna go ahead and wrap it up. I was wrong. We're 30 minutes over.
Are we? Okay.
Yep.
That's not the worst we've ever done.
Yeah, I know. I need to. My eyes are always bigger than my stomach. I'm always so hungry when I'm getting the stories, and then
that Metal Gear story took up a lot of our time.
True. Michael, tell the people where they can find you when you're not over here helping me talk for way too long about Metal Gear.
You can find me on oneofus.net. We do a lot of movie and television reviews. I don't have anything at the moment, but I'm supposed to watch that new Taika Waititi movie soon. But that'll be like a couple weeks from now, probably.
Okay. And hey, if you feel like it, maybe go to patreon.com/RageSelect. I don't know. It helps us out. It does cost money to do this stuff. It even costs time and all kinds of stuff. And I don't know, man. I want to buy Legos, and they're really expensive. So maybe go to Patreon. Maybe this is the new tack for the channel. Michael is, hey, I want to buy stuff. Give me money, please. I don't know. Maybe that's not the best way to do it. I'll come up with something better. That's how it works
usually for people. Yeah.
I'll come up with something better. Just give me the money.
Buy the Magneto helmet or whatever.
Give me the money. I'll do the right thing. You can totally trust me. I promise.
I'm a doctor.
That sounds even worse. Okay, I don't know what. You make up your own reason, but I gotta go because I'm full. I gotta go to the bathroom. Bye.